Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
However, given Senator Paul's obvious obsession with calling for my prosecution, his repeated slanderous comments about me, and recently his publicly releasing my unredacted personal diary aimed at embarrassing and intimidating me, the only conclusion I can reach is that the sole reason he is calling me before this committee is to get me to say something, anything, that could vindicate his repeated public pledges that I end up, in his words, quote, behind bars, unquote. Any reasonable person who has followed his unhinged obsession with me would readily come to the same conclusion. Therefore, although it pains me to do so, because of the respect I have for the legislative branch of government and my decades-long record of cooperating with Congress, under the advice of my attorneys, I will invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution to refrain from answering your questions. Thank you.
I don't think he invoked his Fifth Amendment right based on being called into question the ability to want to be prosecuted for crimes that he committed. I think that you have to look in totality of everything that we've dealt with as Americans. And it's not just Fauci, by the way. It's other people that were sitting on that panel. There's other people in Congress. There's Democrats, Republicans. This isn't just a Democrat game. This isn't just the Democrats are going after and doing bad things to Americans. They won't pass the SAVE Act. Not sure the SAVE Act would do any good. But Fauci is demonic in everything that he's done. You trace it back to the 1980s. This is a guy that said you can look across the room and get AIDS. He said that. He literally said you could be in the same environment so he could look up at you and all of a sudden you end up having AIDS. It's foolish to believe that this is just a Democrat problem. I want to bring to your attention that the person, Congressman Feely out of Florida, was a Republican that asked Clint Curtis to build a system that would be able to withstand the public scrutiny, but was able to flip votes to affect elections. He had a Chinese company that Clint Curtis worked for, do that work for him. A company that was later indicted for crimes for sending back things to China. This is true. All this is true, by the way. Republican. And I want to remind you that it's Republicans that won't stand up and kill the filibuster. The Democrats will kill it day one. It's Republicans that basically are doing the harm to our nation today, not Democrats. I want you to eat that sandwich as I bring in Kyle Seraphin. Kyle, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello.
What's going
Sorry,
on?
I had to open with the fact that I'm tired of everyone saying it's the Democrats. The Democrats haven't been anywhere near any position of power in Congress for 2 years. And they've done absolutely nothing except to give themselves raises. And, pad
Hallelujah. Welcome to the team.
even more. Oh, yeah. It's not that I don't espouse the values that it's supposed to represent. It's that it doesn't represent the values that it says it represents.
It's not even close, man. Yeah, it's really disappointing. Nobody likes being right when what being right means that you lose. This reminds me that there was a great X-Files episode. It's a long time ago. I was a kid watching it, and the guy's name is Peter. Somebody will remember it. And I knew it a little while ago. Anyway, he's this actor. And he comes in. He's playing a psychic or like a clairvoyant, and they're looking for some lost missing person or something like that. And anyway, they're driving around and he takes them to this place and they get stuck in the mud and they're trying to find the lost body and nobody knows where it is or whatever. And they spin the tires and he gets out and Fox Mulder gets out and looks at him and he goes, "Why are you smiling?" He goes, "I'm not smiling. I'm wincing because the car is on top of the dead body. The body's under the mud and it's spinning and it's revealing this face under the tire and it's horrific." It's like, it's not exciting to be right if it means bad things for you and your family. It's not exciting for me. I hate it. I don't like being right. I'd rather be wrong. I would love to be wrong. I was wrong that we were not going to have an election, although I'm not sure that we had an election in 2024. Someone has to tell me how it was different than what happened in 2020.
It wasn't. They just picked a different winner.
That's right? Kind of what I think. So then you can't tell me that we did it. It means that somebody else allowed it.
Look, they've been stealing elections up and down the ballot in every other state. Virginia, Nevada, California. I mean, we saw it happen with Spencer Pratt and we did nothing about it. I just want to point out that the American people, we did nothing.
Dude, we
watched it happen.
We just had a president come out and say the Chinese were meddling in our election for 25 minutes in a national address. And then the FBI director went to China and then he came back and he said, "We're having a really good time. We had a nice time in China. We got to meet with the Minister of Public Security or Public Safety, whatever." It's like, nope, that's not doing it. By the way, I went back and re-listened to all the Kash Patel audio and the press conferences from right after Charlie Kirk was killed.
Why would you do that?
Just to remind myself what a dipshit he is, and it's really bad. I mean, I keep trying to figure out how is it that people have gotten so lost, and they're looking at things and they see phantasms that are not there. They're looking for conspiracy where no conspiracy is required. They're ignoring conspiracy when conspiracy is obvious. Right. So there's an obvious conspiracy that the guy who's sitting in the White House, which a lot of people don't, he just posted about it today. He said Operation Warp Speed was incredible and it was the greatest thing ever. And I was responsible for putting out 3 vaccines and they're all great and everybody's great because of them. And nobody should be compelled to get them, which is true. But like, I'm the best because I came up with these things. And everyone went like, yeah, that's the hero of the Republic. That's the guy. One, Donald Trump has come up with 0 vaccines in the history of his life because he's not a scientist and he doesn't do vaccination work. And then he took credit for the work that was poison.
Well, I mean,
some of us saw it at the moment.
He's the CEO.
He's not, but he's not the CEO of the pharmaceutical companies that made them.
No.
He's just a guy that said, yeah, there's going to be federal dollars behind it. Green lighting federal dollars to do something is not the same as doing something. For me, it's the same thing as a general saying, I'm responsible for kill. Like that's Barack Obama saying I killed Osama bin Laden. It's like, no, you didn't, dude. You couldn't do anything close to that. You didn't have the tactical capabilities. You didn't have the strategic ability. You had a global command authority to say yes.
You could argue that he didn't have the ability to shoot a basketball shot. I think it wasn't
plausible. Yeah, feasible. So anyway, I look at Donald Trump the same way, though. Donald Trump, non-athletic, chubby man, bunch of money, has not lived in the real world forever, basically for more than my entire lifetime.
Hold on, time out. Fact check. President Trump was an athlete in his day. I mean, he is 80.
When was that? In the 30s? How old is he?
It's in the 50s. Right? Yeah.
So 30 years before I was born, he was doing sports for a few minutes, for like 12 minutes.
Oh, he was a wrestler. He went to, yeah. I think he played football.
I want to see. All right. Somebody find some pictures of Trump in a singlet. Find it, Joe. Make it happen. It's just offensive that people look and they go, this is going to be the hero. This is going to be the solution. People thought they outsourced a revolution, like a violent revolution. And I think they probably lucked out that we didn't have that. Because not Donald Trump would have equaled some ugly stuff, and yet it's the same as it ever was. You got all 3 sections of you've got the House, you got the Senate, you've got the White House, and if we're being fair, you have a majority on the Supreme Court that should be theoretically favorable to what you're about. And even if you get some people that jump off the aisle and they close ranks with the liberal side, at the end of the day, you've gotten a bunch of Supreme Court decisions that have gone your way as well. And so the left will claim it's a vast, deep, ugly Supreme Court that's covered by the right wing. And when you see those things, having all 4 of those sectors that are covered out, that's all the branches of government that have any say, right? And
they did it.
What are Republicans doing?
A couple of decades over.
Republicans are crying about communists, which is a fantasy threat, while they are in the position of power to do something. And they're like, if you don't give us another shot again for another couple of years, then the communists come in. All I think is that MAGA wants to be the opposition party. I think the Republicans like being in opposition. It's way easier to bitch about the problem than it is to do something about it. And they're not going to do anything. And that's how you end up with Lindsey Graham's sister as the senator from South Carolina, and she's going to do a permanent run on it.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, it is not the opposition party. The people that are in positions of power and trust do not represent the American people on either side of the aisle. Let's get really clear.
Yeah. I agree.
No,
it's fake opposition. It's the KFAB opposition. It's like they're the heel. They're not really the bad guy.
My next door neighbor is a Democrat, right? Right. My next door neighbor is Democrat, and we have great conversations. I mean, I wouldn't say that he's right about anything, but we have great conversations. He's listening to this right now, probably saying, "Well, I'm probably right more than I'm wrong," and I'm thinking, "Well, I think you're wrong all the time." So there you go. But we don't talk
but you can
about
have civil conversation.
Right. We don't talk about communism. We talk about the betrayal of the American people.
Right.
He believes that it's both parties. He believes that there is no left or right. And I'm not sure I believe left or right. I think that there's just right or wrong. But at some place, he said that the betrayal and the people have been left behind in every facet of our society. And it's not just a U.S. problem. It's a global pandemic, which shows you that there's a small group of people globally that are controlling the outcome of every country, and that most of that lies in the intelligence community, and most of it lies in the CIA and these other apparatuses in other countries that have largely taken and put their talons in. And the last step was, over the last 20 years, they had to have the ability to affect the outcome of every election at every level, whether it be the school board all the way up to the presidency. And they have it. We are a captured nation right now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, so we agree.
Yeah. I just want to punch people.
And that's why I see people LARPing and they think that they're gonna engage themselves in some sort of a investigation, when it's like Anthony Fauci walked in a free man with a $400,000 a year government pension and millions of dollars in net worth, and then he walked right out again after saying that he wasn't gonna say anything because he didn't feel like it. And let's be real clear about why he didn't, right? Because he wasn't in legal jeopardy based on the actual requirements and the sort of the necessity of the protections of the Fifth Amendment. That's not why what he was doing. It's embarrassment. That's why he called out, "You published my public journals." It's like, well, he said they were private, but they were government property, were they not?
Or they were government property.
That's why they were published. So they weren't. That's like me going in and saying, "You published my FBI emails back and forth." Even though every single time you sign on to an FBI computer system or any other government computer system, it lets you know this is searchable by the employer, and that employer is the American taxpayer, in theory. So he's out there upset that his actual thoughts got leaked, that he's a fraud, he's a liar, he's been a liar since the beginning. The things he said to the American people were calculated lies. He was relishing the excitement of being seen as a hero, and he believed his own hype. For the first time, probably in his whole life, he was seen in the way that he always saw himself, this narcissistic garbage. And if there was a just world, somebody who lost family members from COVID probably would have killed this man already. I can't believe this speaks to how good and decent people are in this country, because there's a lot of evil shitheads that should have been killed off. And in any sort of like historical precedent, they would have been dragged out and killed. And so they haven't been.
But they should have been.
We know why. We know that in times past they would have been, and so that is a unique thing to this timeline. For anybody who thinks this is the most dangerous or violent time ever, it's the least dangerous and violent time, because the most evil people get away with doing really evil stuff, and then they die peaceably in their beds. Wealthy people, and I assume that they'll be judged harshly. So they're probably buying down a lifetime in flame. So I don't have to worry about them as much, but I look at it and just go like, man, it's hard to see that much injustice. And a lot of people are nodding along saying, yeah, and they don't have to be on one side of the aisle or the other.
So what are we going to do about it? Right. I mean, I think that's
not going to do anything about that.
All right. Well, I mean, at the end,
I'm going to keep just dealing with my family. This is what I keep saying. I think you've estimated your ability to affect outcomes in ways that I don't think are real, only because it hasn't affected the outcomes that we wanted to see. Yeah. So I think our outcomes that we can affect are within our own limited sphere. And depending on your means, and depending on your mental capability, and depending on your friendships, your network, your age, your experience, your circle may be bigger or smaller, but I don't think we all have a lot. Like, I can't get a freaking stop sign put in outside of my neighborhood where people run into each other every week. if there's a really dangerous two-way, it should be a four-way stop, and I called ahead and I said, you guys have an ambulance out here once a month. You guys have police out here once a week. You keep having people run into each other because you've imported a bunch of dumb shit like, Indian drivers that don't know how to drive. They are not sure which pedal does what, and they're not sure what the rules are. So they do random things that are unpredictable and people crash. So put a stop sign in. And I was like, honestly, if you want to leave it, I'll dig the post hole and I'll put the stop sign in. Just give me the, drop the actual signage and I'll install it for you. I'll make it as cheap as possible. It's probably an $800 solution. That's on the high end.
Well, you can put your own stop sign up. It just becomes a suggestion.
That's not a bad idea. I like that.
You can actually do that. I mean, that is legal in Texas.
I don't know if that's true. I think that's probably not true. I think it's a publicly maintained road, so it's actually handled by the county. So I talked to the people. The guy seemed really like he was on board. He took it. He was a nice man that took my complaint and said, I want to have somebody come out and survey it. And anybody can see you're coming around a blind turn at 40 miles an hour into a thing that should be a four-way stop. And people are trying to get across. So north-south, that is a main road getting people into the neighborhood. And anyway, I can't get that done. So that really will help you assess your own limits. If you can't get a stop sign if you can't get a traffic light put up, or you can't get a speed bump installed on your own road where you live, that is an actual danger and would benefit the public. And I've made several calls over the last, couple months. If that's not feasible, and this is the easiest thing in the world. And by the way, I've seen them add a stop sign in my time that I've been in this neighborhood. So it's not like it's not a thing that they've done before. They just can't get it done. So if I can't get that, then I'm going to really have to reestimate what is my sphere of influence. And it's not big. And so I think I've told you my 6 Fs. I keep growing. I had 4 Fs. Now they're 5. Now I get 6 Fs. There's 6 F bombs that won't offend anybody. So that's where I'm at right now. That's what I stick on in order, and in the order that I can accomplish them. And then in the order I think that they are important. You ready?
Yeah. I've already heard it. So everyone else needs to hear it.
Number 1 is faith. That's 100% within your control to work on. It doesn't mean that you're going to be good at it. It's probably something that we as men are challenged by regularly. So Faith is 1, family is the other. We can all be better to our family. We can all be more caring, attentive. We can more be involved. No matter who you are, even in the most perfect relationship, there's more you can do for your family. So you can do those. Your fitness, we all need that. I don't know anybody that thinks they're the fittest person in the world and they need no fitness. So work on that. That's easy. That's in your wheelhouse, and you will continue to struggle with that until you die. And as you get older, you'll get less fit, and so you have more work to do. Firearms capabilities to be able to defend those things that I said above, and your ability to engage in them. So you work on your guns, you work on your weapons handling, your safety, and your tactics and your techniques and your maintenance. That needs to be done. And then below that, which is related to that, is food. That's the other thing, food safety and security. So whether it's growing your own or storing your own. And then lastly, our sense of humor, having a little bit of fun with it, because otherwise we all go nuts. And that's all within your control. Like those are within your household. Those are things that can happen on your street. You can do all those things. Outside of that, like I actually do think that we're pissing in the wind. I think that people should know why they are focusing on the things that they need to focus on. And I think it's that by understanding national problems and state problems and then even local problems, what you've done is you've given yourself permission to recognize that you can affect them. And so it's like going into an In-N-Out. Hold on.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I know you don't, but it's like going into an In-N-Out. The minute you choose, you go into an In-N-Out, you've made all the decisions that are necessary. You recognize that they're not going to serve you anything outside of a burger at In-N-Out and fries.
And it's not going to taste good.
I think it's great, but I think it's better. What do you like? Whataburger?
No.
What do you like for burgers?
I like Thai food.
Do you want to hear a funny story about Thai food?
No,
I was going to dive school. I was going to dive school in Panama City Beach. This is in 2011. And I was going there. I was surrounded by a bunch of guys who had just put on a red hat, and they were combat controllers, special operator, future operators. And I was there with guys that were going through the training to become special operators as pararescuemen. And so like I'm there with my pararescue guys and I'd known both sides of the house, and I knew guys from all over it. And I went out with one of my classmates. He was the honor grad from my NDOC class, which is like the selection. It's a 90-day selection or so, 100-day selection for pararescue in the Air Force. Real difficult program. And this guy's a stud, but he's super wiry and skinny. He had a master's in history. Whenever I saw him in his room, he was always naked, which was very unsettling to me. Like I'd knock on the door, he'd be like, yeah. And he'd open the door and he'd be like facing the mirror and naked. And it's like, dude, did you strip down because you knew I was coming in? What's going on here? He's a weird dude, but smart, interesting, always dated women that were 15 years older than him, that kind of guy.
Oh, that guy.
And
Dated mommy, had mommy issues.
Just a weird dude. But he was
Turns
smart.
out his mom had him when he was 15.
Who knows? He was a fun guy. So Scott and I go out and we have lunch one day at this Thai place, right? And we go in, and I like Thai food too. Like I like a bacon cheeseburger as a general default, but like if you give me Thai, like that might be the option I choose. So we go to this Thai place and we sit down, and this like lady, you know, this like, she would be cute, except she had like a messed up grill, and she had like braces, and which makes her look younger than she probably is. And she's Asian, so she could be 15 or 50, and I don't know. So this 49-year-old Asian woman who looks like a teenager with braces comes out and starts talking to us and giving us the thing. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to have a chicken and pad thai. And like, that's my thing. And then she's like, how spicy? And I'm like, just look at me and make a guess. I don't know. Like, however spicy you think I need. She's like, okay. She was very judicious. She was obviously a kind heart. And then she looks over at my friend and he says something, and he like orders some deal, whatever, some curry or something like that. And she's like, you know, how spicy? And he goes, yeah, make it Thai spicy, Thai hot. And she goes, oh, no, you not do that or something. Yeah. And then my buddy starts talking to her in Thai. And that's how I learned out my friend, who I had seen running around the barracks naked, and we'd gone through a bunch of swim training together, and we'd done a bunch of like had also also lived in Thailand for like a year and a half, and like ran around in the mountains of Thailand and had like a real taste for Thai food. So he starts chatting it up with this lady who probably is old enough to be our mother, for all I know, but she looked like a teenager, and he's like jammering back and forth. And at the end of it, I go, dude, what the F was that? And he was like, oh, yeah, I used to live in Thailand for like a year. It's like, well, wait, I feel like I should have known that about you. You're not that old. Like, he was 28 years old at some point, and he snuck in that he lived in Thailand. Anyway, sometimes you learn things.
That'd be a great place to live, by the way.
We can be surprised by people.
Yeah.
But it turns out to be like not that many times. Mostly they just do what Fauci does. I could have told you what Fauci was going to do before he went there.
Well, so here's the problem that we have, right? We have a natural distrust of others because we have been conditioned to trust no one, right? It started in the 80s when they said, you know, stranger danger. And they started there. Like, you don't.
My generation grew up on the X-Files. We want to believe, but also trust no one.
Yeah. And you know, milk cartons on every corner. And we went through this stage where we didn't believe it either. I mean, it was kind of like, yeah, okay. We didn't believe it.
Did they ever find the milk carton kids? Did you ever see like or were they just gone forever?
I think a vast majority of them probably gone forever. That brings me to the Pizzagate and all the other stuff that we're learning about today. Okay. Now we really don't trust anyone because we find out that our government plays for Team Evil. And it's the whole idea that the reason why Epstein can exist is because the system is Epstein. Right, the system is the people that want to piddle children, and they every now and then you want to throw a couple pedophiles in jail, but they're proving that the people at the very top, these guys that wear the black robes, are letting pedophiles out on the street after 6 months after raping a 9-year-old. So they're all a part of this entire system, right? And so we're now learning that the veil is being pulled back, and we're learning that our government is just Team Evil completely. And we thought we were Team Evil, and then our neighbors were Team Evil. It turns out that the people that are running us are actually Team Evil. That now want to call a man a woman a man, and groom and piddle our children and create education environments that make them probably dumber than rocks, and do things that favor just a few people while pissing on the rest of us and treating us like house. I mean, because that's in essence what they've treated every person as.
Just a casual drop.
I mean, that's the reality, right? They want to appropriate that name to a race. You can't. It's everyone. Everyone has become it is. Mm-hmm. It's a caste system, and it's the haves and the have-nots. And the reality of it is that, you know, when I grew up, you know, we thought we solved racism. We thought we solved a lot of these problems because we didn't give a shit about it, right? Nobody cared if you were white, black, green, yellow, purple. And you were gay or straight, we didn't care, right? But they take the one thing, the Matthew, what's the guy's name? Matthew Shepard.
Yeah, make that up. That was
guy
fake.
tied to a fence post or whatever, and make up some big story, you know. And look,
how many people actually know the story of Shepard and the whole Laramie project, that it's a complete sham?
I don't know. I know I gave money back then.
Do you think it's commonly known that whole thing was based on like false information?
No.
You know that?
No.
You guys should look up. You should look at the story of Matthew Shepard. Yeah. He was like, it was a drug deal gone bad. It had nothing to do with him being gay. And I think if memory serves, the drug dealer that he was involved with also had like a side romantic interest in him. So it had nothing to do with him like finding some homosexual guy and then leaving him out there on a barbed wire fence that we've all heard about.
Yeah, that's what we heard about. I mean,
that's what we heard, but that's not what really happened. Like apparently the story is that he owed money. It was a crystal methamphetamine sort of situation gone wrong, and there were all these implications between the people who were involved, and so it had nothing to do with homosexuality or bigotry or anything else. It was just like if you screw with people's money in the drug world, then you find yourself made an example of sometimes. But that didn't stop anybody from running on it and taking a bunch of money up. And there's still an ongoing Laramie project. I think they still collect money, and they pretend to be this virtue signaling group when in fact, like, I'm pretty confident that it'd be like naming something after George Floyd. You're like, oh, St. George Floyd of fentanyl, that guy. Like that's what we're talking about.
But look, I mean, I'll just tell you, back in the day, I think it was like 96 as this happened, 97, I think. I don't remember, 96, 97.
I remember the whole story from what it was told. I just remember looking it up later and going like, oh, I was wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I'm this many days old when I found out that I'm wrong. Like I never went back and looked it up ever again. But I can tell you right now that I sent money to them. I sent money to the parents for the project. They had this huge thing before they had GoFundMe. To send in money to help out. So I did, because the idea of just killing someone because of they're gay, I found reprehensible, right? So
yeah, it is reprehensible if that's the reason why. There was a story published in 2013. I'm just looking it up. It says that the attackers knew each other, that it was over a local methamphetamine subculture, and the murder was about a drug and money dispute gone wrong.
Yeah.
And essentially everybody had an instinct in not pushing that forward because it was a lot more salacious. It was 1998 was the original murder. Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's...
But this is why we've gone from a high trust society to this low trust society where the things that you knew were true, you find out either they weren't true at all, or there was a lot more to the story and something was played up for a narrative that was done on purpose. It was done for a reason, and that reason was to benefit somebody else. Like it was a nefarious purpose. And so people feel like their trust is constantly abused, which it is. I mean, we live in a lower trust society, which is why, you and I used to go out and play when we were kids. You could go all over the place, whether you lived in an urban area or you lived in a rural area or a suburban area. You could get away with being gone for hours, and your parents had no way to contact you. There were no cell phones. There was no, you might call them when you got out of the movie on a payphone and tell them that you were on the way home or something like that, or that you were ready, and then you'd hang out there until they picked you up, or whatever the story was. That was your life. And today, kids got freaking AirPods stuffed into their shoes. Someone's cutting up with the foam of their freaking tennies and sticking it in an AirPod because somebody might snatch their kid, or at least they think they might. And we have parental kidnappings and divorces where parents are no longer together. So that could happen from there. And there's just this massive amount of distrust, let alone the fact that we have brought in a bunch of people into this nation that don't share our values. And they didn't come in selected by value. They came in for financial opportunities that are taken from other people who are working their ass off. It's incredible to me that there are levels. I don't remember if you saw this in New Mexico, but Gary Johnson made the argument back when he was governor of New Mexico. He was like, I pushed something forward. And what I did is I led a progressive system where we would give public assistance to people, and they could come and get a job, and they could get a full-time job, and we didn't cut off the benefits because we understood that if you came from not having a job to having a job, you probably needed a little bit more time on the ladder, like us holding it still before we could pull the ladder out from underneath you. Maybe you needed to get up another rung or two. So they had a progressive system where they would wean you off public assistance, and they would actually incentivize you to go make more money by making it on your own, to the point where you made more money than you would get on public assistance, and now you're launched. And so he had this program, and basically the state legislature, which is a Democrat program, they destroyed it. He said all the help wanted signs went down all over the state for as long as they were doing his plan. And the minute the state legislature got involved and was able to cut funding and say they were no longer going to do that, it went back up, because there's this captive mentality. I mean, all that is done in bad faith. And so anyway,
it's meant to make slaves of people in the community. I mean, the whole idea of what we deal with today is benign bullshit, right? They say they care about poor people. They don't. They step over them, give entitlements to this new generation of foreigners that come in here. They're trying to replace. I mean, this is genocide and ethnic cleansing of Americans and the American ethos. That's what this is. I mean, they basically, it doesn't matter. And if you're a veteran, by the way, it's even worse. It's even worse. They have maybe the VA will do something for you if they're forced to, because the media comes out and says something about you, or maybe you get a congressman to pay attention just once in your miserable life as you're going through things, and then maybe they do something for just you. But there's 2,000 people behind you that are committing suicide because, frankly, they have no hope, and there's no.
They never were able to transition from one mission to another, and nobody ever showed them how to do it. I've seen the mission failure there. Do you want to know something crazy? VA story, personal one. Yeah. I when I was going through the stuff I was going through with the FBI, and we may have talked about this previously, but I knew that my FBI time was over because of the way that I was put in a corner for 6 weeks, and they'd taken my paycheck for 3 months. So I got stuck at home, not allowed to come in. This is all Fauci related, it turns out. And then this is in early 2022. I come back into the office because they changed the rules. This was a Fauci thing as well. And I literally was put in a corner, and I sat there for 6 weeks with no work. And you can imagine what a lunatic I am not having work. So I'm doing runs on the treadmill, wearing plate carriers and trying to figure out some way to get fitter. And I'm doing, refreshers for emergency medicine. And then they set me on some wild goose chase out into the borderlands, and went out there with body armor on and a helmet and all this stuff because I thought they were going to try to kill me. But anyway, I ended up getting removed from my job in April of 22. I'm on permanent suspension. And so I go, well, this is obviously not going to work out with this agency, so maybe I can get another federal job. And since they had pulled my security clearance, I was limited in what sort of federal investigator jobs I could do, which was under the category 1811. And so I found an 1811 job. I found a couple of them. Some were at the Postal Inspection Service. You didn't need a security clearance. And the one that was most promising and the most interesting to me was a job in Spokane, Washington, with the Office of the Inspector General for Veterans Affairs for the VA. And what they do, and they're really small. There's 1,100 or 1,200 people involved in the entire OIG. And they investigate fraud and malfeasance that takes place with federal dollars on hundreds of billions of dollars of federal money from the VA. And they essentially hired me. They told me where my office was. We did a 4-hour interview that was supposed to be for 30 minutes. After the 30 minutes, we just were shooting the shit and talking about what these guys, where they live and what are they like and what their previous agencies were like. And they all had side hustle jobs. One guy owned a Wi-Fi company that installed Wi-Fi in houses. Another guy had a wedding venue that he operated. Another dude had these were their side hustles. They were just doing stuff because they were allowed to have side gigs. And one guy was a rafting guide or a fishing guide or a hunting guide or something.
Now, that would be fun. I would do that.
These guys all had cool things. One dude ran a 10-acre wedding venue on his house. And so a couple of months out of the year, they made $150,000 a year renting out their property and setting up for people's happiest days. It sounded awesome. Anyway, these people were really cool. There were 4 or 5 people in the office. They were all really nice. I got along with the people I interviewed with, the entire department. And they basically said, this is your job, because they couldn't hire anybody else. Joe, they had one spot open, and they were looking for either a GS-12 or GS-13. So precedence goes to the higher pay grade. I was the only GS-13 that applied. I was also working at the FBI, and I was also a 10-point disabled veteran for preference. They couldn't have hired anybody except me for the job, okay? So this is July of 2022. I know the FBI is probably not feeling real great about me. I'm never going to go back to work there. I'm technically an FBI agent on unpaid suspension forever. And I told them about my scenario. I'm like, look, I got active lawsuits. We got an EEO case. I'm getting screwed over by the agency. I'm just looking for a way out to come and keep working on behalf of the American public. And they were like, we have so much fraud. You could literally work every fraud case and we would never run out of fraud here because people are constantly stealing money from the VA that should go to vets. And we love having vets in here that have a vested interest in it. And I was like, on board, right? I never got a call back for that job. You know what they did? They never hired anybody for that position because legally they would have had to hire me. And so what they did instead, and this is the fuckery that goes on inside our government, they just decided to not hire anybody until that announcement lapsed. And then quietly, a couple months later or whatever, I'm sure they announced another one. And by that point in time, I realized I was never going to get another federal job. And that was right about the time I ended up going on Daniel Bongino's podcast. So I basically closed off the door of going to work for the government again. But they ran me out of it by just running out the clock. And there's only so many months you can go without a living before something, you're like, well, I guess I'm not going to do that. I wanted to go find fraud in the VA. And I would have been good at that, it turns out. I would have been really good at it. It was a place I wanted to go live.
Instead, what they do is they have the people that are committing the fraud inside of the VA that are stopping you from getting to the fraud because they're actively involved in it.
It's highly plausible. And so, you've got an enormous agency. I mean, think about the people. I've never had a VA doctor that was a white guy. They were all Indian.
Oh,
they were all Indian, all of them.
You're in Texas now, right? Mm-hmm. Go to Costco.
Well, I can go to any Costco and I can find all the Indians. I don't know how. I don't know what they're doing. Why are they there at all hours?
I don't.
Joe, I've never seen anything like it.
It doesn't matter what time you're there. It's like 90% Indian. You see,
yeah,
beep, 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 beep.
I'm in a new. We have a new Costco that opened up within a mile of my house.
Yeah,
and so it's brand new. It's been open for a couple of months. I think it opened just before the summer, and it's 50% Indian on any given moment.
Are you ready for
actually
this?
Pretty cool.
This is a Costco story. So I'm at Costco. I'm sitting there. I didn't want to be at Costco. My wife wanted to go to Costco, and I'm like, all right, fine, I'll go to Costco. And I think she tricked me into going to Costco.
She did trick you.
She tricked me because I don't like being out. I don't like it.
What vehicle were you taking?
I took the Cybertruck.
Cybertruck. Okay, Texas trip.
Yeah. Yeah, I was in Texas. I'm in Texas right now. My niece is here. We took her to SeaWorld. It's kind of a fun deal. I wanted to just drop her and her friend off. They're 12 years old, right? We're at the family compound. We just went down there. We said, okay, well, just drop them off. And then my wife's like, do you think we could drop them off? I mean, there's a lot of crazy people. We're close to the border. She made this whole thing.
We're not that, to be fair, San Antonio is not that close to the border.
It's close enough. It's 2.5 hours.
Yeah, but it's not that close. I mean, you could drive across whole states in less than 2.5 hours.
You can't get to a state in 2.5 hours from here.
No, not in Texas, but in like the Northeast, people could drive across 2 states or 3.
But her fear is that you get some person, that
3 hours and you'll never see him again.
You'll never see him again. So I'm like, all right, I'll go.
It's not all that common, just so people are.
So not only did I go to Costco, but I also went to SeaWorld. I just want you to know I went to SeaWorld.
Oh, dude.
And then of all the places that I want to go.
That's the least.
That is the least. I'd rather go to Slitterbomb.
Which is also bad, but at least there's not dolphin torture there.
Yeah. It's not that bad. But anyway, we went to SeaWorld.
You think the dolphins are happy?
No.
You think the orcas are happy? I think SeaWorld is
in the middle. It's in the middle of this.
If Disney is the happiest place on earth, I think SeaWorld might be the saddest place on earth. Yeah. It's just a bunch of like sentient animals that are being held captive.
Shamu 21.0.
Yeah. Have you never seen Free Willy? I mean, this is not a happy story until he escapes.
But at least they made the tanks bigger. They made the tanks bigger.
Did they?
At least they're hanging. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I always saw the tank that they were in. But let me get back to my Costco story, because this is a great part of the story, right? So I'm at Costco. I'm already pissed off. Don't really want to be there, right? And I was telling people this yesterday. And I parked right in front of the little freezer deal. And, Erica goes in, and I'm sitting there. And my cart is here, and there's like a way you can get around me. But this guy in hijab, a Muslim guy, goes, move. And I was like, what?
Is he in sandals?
I was like, yeah, oh yeah.
And
he's
capri pants?
Thing. Yeah.
I know that guy.
He looks like his pajamas.
I know that fucking guy.
He's wearing his pajamas.
I've seen that guy.
And so
why is that guy at all the Costcos?
He's at all the Costcos. But he told me, he said, move. And I was like, yeah, that's not the way you get me to, that's not the way you get me to do anything.
Coming at my man all wrong.
Yeah. So then he said, move again. So he said, move a third time. And I at that point, I was like, listen, let me tell you what's about to happen. Something really bad is about to happen to you.
I don't like the way you said that. I want to.
You can say please.
No. I think there was a more fun way to do it.
Oh no, I was not.
You were in like publicly acceptable mode.
I was in publicly throw this guy around like a ragdoll mode.
I know, but the deep thing in your heart was like, I'm about to eat your soul. What if you'd said that to him?
No, I wasn't gonna do that. But I was very calm when I walked up to him, and you could see the fear in his eye of just the fact that of what was in my eyes. It
was a tactical error on his part.
I have a lot of pent up anger, and I'm at Costco. I just want you to know I'm at Costco right now.
There's concrete floors here, guy.
Yeah,
you're in sandals.
See those muffins? You're about to choke on them. You're about to choke on the muffins.
Anally. Okay? I'm about to fist pump you with some muffins. You're about to get a bran muffin and a blueberry.
It was
your ass.
It was that was my Costco.
Why did he think? Well, like here's the question though. Why did he think it was appropriate for him to say move to you?
Well, he had this look on his face like he could just tell anybody anything, and he looked for all the white people. Right?
Yeah.
I wasn't the only one. I saw him from about where he cut.
But he did miscalculate.
He miscalculated a lot because I was going to tear his face off. Right?
Nobody tells me to move. I want somebody to do that. I dream of this. So, I have a tactic when I go to Costco. I load up. I do a battle cart. Do you ever do that?
No.
I get the heaviest thing that I'm going to buy, and I make sure I load that first. So if I'm buying like 150 pounds worth of, whatever rock salt for the water filtration unit in the house or whatever like the softener.
Said no one ever. Why the hell would you have a rock salt softener? It's terrible for you.
Whatever it's called. It's a water softener, and it makes weird noises if I don't put the salt in there. So you bet the salt. It's like $8 a bag. So I put in like 150 pounds of cart, and then I put a kit or two in there. So I got another like 70 or 80 pounds in there. And if I'm buying water, I put the water in there. So my battle cart weighs like upwards of 250 pounds. And I've had a couple of people that like made it, like they did a brake check on me while I was moving the battle cart, and I ate them. I just went right through them. I chewed up some Asian woman in front of my dad, by the way. My dad died laughing. He's like, whoa. And it's like, I ran right over this woman, and she goes, ah, like ran over her Achilles heel because she stopped for no reason, illogically in the middle of a main, like a main thoroughfare. She stops. She looked at me like, what have you done? And I go, get out of the way. And then just like, you made a choice.
I thought maybe she was going to ask you what spice level you wanted. And you're like, I want it all.
I gave it to her Thai spicy. She got the battle cart. She got 300 pounds worth of whatever the hell was in it coming right over the top. And it chewed up her ankle. Nobody screws with the battle cart when they see that it takes you a little while to decelerate. It's like driving the semi.
And you're probably not doing the decelerate the way it normally is. You're like, oh, you're like a Republican in Congress. Oh, I'm trying to stop it. Oh, I'm trying to stop.
Well, it depends. I'm not going to try to like run over a kid, but if you're like a weird Asian chick who randomly stops for no reason, and it's the second time you've done this, I'm done worrying.
Actually get, yep.
Look, if you forfeit your safety, if you think that I'm going to be responsible for your safety, I'm not. I didn't sign up for that. So yeah, I'm willing to run over. What did you do to him?
I didn't do anything.
What's his name? Abdullah. What'd you do to Abdullah?
Yeah. No. It was Hijab Bob. I already named him. Hijab Bob.
Hijab Bob.
Hijab Bob. Yeah.
You spent a lot of time in the Middle East. I don't think that was his name. I think you could probably guess better. Anyhow, what did you do to him?
Okay, his name was Muhammad.
They're all Muhammad. How many times was his name Muhammad, though? Was it Muhammad?
It was Muhammad Abdul Muhammad.
Muhammad Abdul Muhammad.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. What does that mean, by the way, when they say that? Alhamdulillah.
Peace be upon you. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, I don't want the peace. All right, so you weren't bringing him peace. You were bringing him Joe Oltmann's freaking internal rage fire.
Actually, I wasn't. It was weird because the first time he said it, I was like, excuse me? I just like to look up like, huh? What?
I just watched Back to the Future the other day, and you're inside your head. It was like the Marty McFly turning on the amplifier in the opening scene where he's like,
oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It's like maxed out at 11.
And I was feeling it. I don't know why I was feeling it, but when I got there, I was looking for a problem, and he must have seen it. I must have been wearing a sign that said, I have a real problem right now, so I think you need to solve my problem.
Give me a reason. What happened?
But I mean, here's the greatest part. Oh, he did. He literally he didn't even try to get into there at all. He just turned around and ran away. Right?
He was like, went to his wife and he said, "We don't need eggs that much."
But why would you pick a fight with a 230-pound dude? Right?
You're looking soft. You're not looking as hard as you used to. That's it.
I'm
the gray in the beard.
Hard.
Must be looking soft. I don't know why. Maybe you need some of these white walls. Maybe you need to let me do the ninja barbershop on you. I'll clean you up with a high fade.
I probably need to.
I could trim you up and make you look a little bit more lean, more aerodynamic.
All I know is that at the end of the day, when my wife walked out, she goes, "What was that all about?" I was like, "He was just having a conversation."
Yeah.
She goes,
she knew better too. She was
I was red. I mean, my face was red, and she knew. When I walked back to the cart, I still looked up and saw her because I don't want to do that in front of my wife.
She was like this. She was like, something burning.
Yeah.
My seething rage.
Someone. She goes, we should get out of here. We should get out of here. Hey, somebody just said they don't consider a Cybertruck a truck.
It's not a truck. Did you tell people what happened to us when we were? Do you know how many times I've told the story of us going to Office? Was it Office Max or Depot?
Oh yeah. You had to bring up the gay shit, and
God, that was funny though. Because here's the thing. Listen, Joe, you and I had a moment that was funny that we can always laugh about. That man did not know what happened to him. He's didn't realize.
Thinking about it. He's at his counselor's office.
He's still thinking about it.
Yeah.
He's like, listen. He's talking to his therapist, and he's like, look. The other day, I was thinking about maybe considering selling off my truck and getting a Cybertruck. And so I happened to see the first Cybertruck and the driver of the Cybertruck in a way that I could approach them and ask them a question. So here's this man getting out of the Cybertruck and his young sidekick, and they're and he's much better looking, obviously, and they're walking into this store, and the driver of the Cybertruck is on the phone. They didn't know it, but he's on the phone with like the Prime Minister of Micronesia or the Attorney General of Colombia. You were talking to Mario, I think.
No, was I talking to Mario?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just make up the story because it's funnier to say you were talking to somebody in Micronesia. I don't even know where that is. Anyway, you're talking to like an executive head of state or head of state-ish person in another country. Was it Guatemala?
It was Guatemala.
It's not really even a real country. So you're talking to a person in a foreign government. And so you're occupied. You're like doing this, and you're talking, and you're looking over at me all side-eyed, and the guy goes, "Hey, that's a Cybertruck," or something like that. This guy's in his 50s, and maybe he was older. And I go, "Oh yeah," and he goes, "How do you like it?" And like, it's not mine, and I've just ridden in it for the first like 11 minutes. And
I'm on the phone,
and Joe's on the phone. He's busy. So I look over at him, and I go, "Oh, I think he likes it he likes it a lot. But you're only allowed to have male company in the front seat, apparently. He always rides with other dudes now." And the guy goes, "Oh, what?"
He's like, and he walks away slowly.
And Joe looks over and gives me this look like, "Don't do it." And I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty cool, this truck, but I think it makes you gay. So I think my friend is gay." And he's like, "What?" It's a complete stranger. And then I was like, "Cool." And then you're like, "Hey man, we need to get these markers." And I'm like, "Sorry, sir, we got to go buy some markers together in this store. And then we're going to ride back home together." Bye. It was nice meeting you. And he walked off like so confused.
He walked off pretty fast.
Now he doesn't own a Cybertruck because I dissuaded him.
No.
I'm sure of it.
All right. So
he's not well after that.
No. All right, we got to get to some of this stuff that I want to talk about.
What are you talking about? Joe, the thing that makes me happy is that you and I had a weird moment where I can make fun of you, and it was in front of somebody else, and that guy doesn't know what happened. And
I don't care. I mean,
and he's permanently the victim of that story.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All right. So I want you to see this. Josh Hawley grills Fauci.
Can we put grills in air quotes?
Well, I got something for grills for you. I'm just
going to say, if somebody grills you and you walk away unscathed, did they actually grill you, or did they just turn on the grill and then tell you that they had it?
Yeah.
Fauci walked away a millionaire, and he walked away with a $400,000 government pension.
And still not in prison. Like, still no accountability.
That's assumed. He's fine. Yeah, he's gonna die a rich guy in his bed.
All right, play it.
Chairman, well, nothing says honesty like taking the fifth, huh, Doc? Let's try something. What day of the week is it today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color is the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know. As the Supreme Court has been clear for a century and more, Brown versus Walker, 1896, when he has been pardoned, he may not stand upon his privilege. You know that. Your lawyer is sitting behind you now, shifting nervously in their chairs. They know it. This isn't about the Constitution. This isn't about the law. This is about contempt. Contempt for this body and contempt for the American people. But I think I know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to answer questions. It's because you did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic you got rich, didn't you? You got rich while people were dying, hundreds of thousands of Americans, over 1 million in the end, and you were getting rich. And not only were you doing that, you were using federal employees with taxpayer money to apply for and solicit cash prizes for you personally. Cash prizes totaling over $1 million. You did all of that during the pandemic, didn't you? That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the.
You think he knows that the
pardon that he got from Biden is not real? It was signed by the auto pen?
No, I think he knows that that body has no ability to affect anything because it's a legislative body and those hearings are all theater and there's literally no outcomes that come out of it. Who was the last guy that was held in contempt of Congress that we know of?
Steve Bannon.
Yeah, he went to prison. Why?
Well, I mean, because he's a fat man that literally is a piece of shit that was Epstein's good friend. I mean, if you want to know the truth.
Right.
I hate Bannon. I want to punch that fat man in his face. I can't stand anybody that would stand with a guy like Epstein. You stand with a guy like Epstein, you're dog shit. You cannot redeem yourself. You knew he was a pedophile. You knew he raped a child, and you still stood with him and was best friends with him. Stayed in his little thing and said, "We're going to make you likable." No. You're just a stupid fat man. No, I hate that man. Hate that man.
It's the only people I've seen that have been actually imprisoned have been done so by leftists that were in charge.
Yeah.
Because that's their jam. Republicans don't have the spine to do that. They don't go after people for contempt of Congress. Contempt of the Senate. They don't. They just haven't. I mean, I'm open to being wrong. Let it happen.
Listen,
I don't think anything will happen. I don't know what the cashy markets are or what the what the poly market says.
It's at 9% now. It's still an 89% chance that he actually, or 91% chance that nothing happens to him.
Yeah,
because nothing happens.
Because people know the smart money is betting on the status quo being maintained, and that people who get away with doing evil stuff, like the problem Republicans will do is they'll game it out. The Democrats would run through a pardon in a heartbeat if it was important to them. And so this is the only time when I see that there's a difference, even though I think the teams are they're playing off the same sort of sheet of music. There are different tactics being utilized by the team depending on what brand name you get. Just in like Stone Cold Steve Stunner or whatever, what the hell, Stone Cold Steve Austin gets to do the stunner and another guy has to do some other move. Like they have different moves. And the move that you see the left is willing to do is that they're willing to progressively chip away at things that we used to consider to be, what's a good word for it? Like they were red lines, they were Rubicons that generally would not be crossed. And that's kind of their jam. They push across things. They're willing to move the the standards that the public is willing to accept. So we'll have the raid of a Republican president's home after he's no longer in office. We'll do that. We'll send federal law enforcement there. You wouldn't have seen that over the previous guys. So you got to cross red lines with them. That means it's open to do that again now. So now you could see it happen to left or right. But they'll break that pane of glass. But I just don't see anybody that was a hero to the Republic under Trump previously. Didn't he get a Congressional Medal of Freedom from Donald Trump?
Who?
Fauci. Who did he get a Medal of Freedom from?
He got it from Biden. He did not get it from Trump. Trump wants to have that guy literally hung by a bridge. And it can't happen fast enough for me.
He was given a Presidential Medal of Freedom by Bush.
Who was?
Fauci. I just looked it up. I'm sitting over here looking at it.
Fauci's been diabolical since day one, since the 1980s. I mean,
for sure. But I don't think
he's a part of the tribe.
What are they going to do to that guy?
Past that.
What's up?
I said
he's one of the tribe.
He's part of the tribe.
Is he? I thought he was Italian.
The synagogue of Satan.
Yeah. Well.
Look, the guy is just. This is my problem: is that we can't ever get to the bottom of it because.
Well, look what we got though. We got Josh Hawley, who was championing SNAP benefits, who voted for the first COVID relief package, who stands on ceremony and acts like he's the tough guy. And that's great theater. And he's got a great voice and personality for it. And he's clean shaven and he's a good looking guy. He's got a pretty family. And he sounds super tough. I sent him a whistleblower disclosure about Chris Wray and misuse of the private jet. You know what happened to Chris Wray? He's fucking fine right now. He's still a millionaire. He's hanging out.
So there's more.
Nothing happens to these people.
Jim Jordan, same thing. I sent him a whole packet of information related to fraud.
I talked to Jim Jordan's office for 2.5 years, sending them every single thing that I could think of. Some of it was actionable, and they never even did a criminal referral based on what I sent over because they don't want to start that precedent that their guy is going to be looked at next. Here's what I had a libertarian say this to me in Las Vegas the other day, and it made perfect sense. He said that the Democrat Party's kind of brand ethos is grow government at all costs. Whatever they can, government's the solution to it. But the Republican ethos is no better because they're agnostic about the size of government. They just want to be the ones in charge of it. And so if you don't care about shrinking government, which was the historical position that the political right held in America, if there's not a single side that says smaller government is superior, then who's being represented? And that actually goes against what all common sense people from 20 years ago would have thought. The growth of government for no particular reason other than growing government. At one point, you run out of people that could be taxed for it because the tax base is just government. And we're not there yet, but there's an awful lot of people working for our federal government in a shocking number. And that's not just like direct federal employees. We're talking about contractors and businesses that completely rely on the federal government for their existence, which means there are tons and tons and tons of households that are essentially, they are pulling money from a smaller and smaller segment of people working. Now, it's still the majority of the economy, but we've left the rails where people were even making the argument that maybe we should curtail the size of the group that's in charge at the federal level and then forget the state and local because they're everywhere too.
Well, so my father sent me a text message. He goes, "Is Jim Jordan okay? Is Paul okay?" And I was like, "No, none of them are okay."
Do you know I saw Rand Paul in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I was there with Jim Erdman, who just came out of the CIA. He just went and testified in front of Rand Paul's committee. So yeah. Rand Paul recognized him, completely emotionless to see him. He sees my friend, who's a freaking American hero, who just left the CIA and did a bunch of disclosures about COVID, about election interference, about UAPs.
He's what I shared it. He's what the CIA should be.
He's what people think the CIA was a long time ago. And he's the thing that you want working at the CIA. He's like a person of principles. He's willing to grow and learn. He's been overseas, stealing from other countries, which is what we think the CIA is supposed to be able to do. Put America first and, damn the consequences and put their life on the line to do it. And he did those things. And he was a Ranger Battalion guy before that in the Army. He's just an awesome guy. And Rand Paul's at this event. So he comes up and, my buddy Jim's like, "Hey, I want to take a picture with you and the senator." And I go, "Sure." So I walk up, I shake Rand Paul's hand. He looks me dead in the eye. He has absolutely no fucking idea who I am or why I'm standing there. He knows who Jim is, and he has no emotion about it. They take a picture, and then we walk away. He has a few words with Jim, and that was it. It's like, I just laughed. I'm like, number one, I'm glad he doesn't know who I am. Number two, I fed information to his party for over 2 years, like 3 years during the Biden administration, and you don't know. There were guys on the dais that were reading my name into the record on a regular basis, right next to you, including guys like Josh Hawley. And I know they all knew what was happening there. And what do? Nothing. Nothing.
You know the Jan 6 committee?
Mm-hmm.
So they subpoenaed everyone to testify to the January 6th committee, right? And if there was a group of 50 people that I was with or around on January 6th, 49 of them got called. You know who didn't?
Yeah, you.
Well, you know why?
Tell me.
There's this thing that's happening in the government where they, and I said this to you before. Somebody said, "How does Joe know what he knows about the election machines? How did he know so quick? How is he able to figure this out? He wasn't an insider. He wasn't on our team." They can't figure it out. They can't figure it out. They can't figure out the fact that I was able to deconstruct the election system and say, okay, this is how the system works, and this is what the outcome is going to be for the runoff election in Georgia. Mm-hmm. And then when it happened, they were like, "Oh shit!" So then after all this happened, they're like, "We have no idea what he's going to say, and if this record gets out there, it could be really bad." And this is a lawyer, by the way, for one of the 49 people that got called. Mm-hmm. They're like, "Joe, they can't afford to put you on that stand because you are a loose wire." And
yeah, you're a liability. Well, that's essentially what Jim Jordan's people said to me about the thing that I'm not going to back any system. I'm just going to say what I think is true, whatever that looks like. And so they said, "You're too politically hot."
Yeah.
And what that means is that I will call people on the right, or in the Republican Party on their bullshit, and I'll call people on the left on their bullshit if I think it's bullshit. And I might be wrong. Look, I'm not saying I have like some sort of like magical gift to understand it, but it turns out a lot of the things I'm saying are accurate. And my qualms with the system are based on a pretty educated guess of deconstructing what the system looked like when I was looking at it. I'm not an election system guy, but I can tell you what's wrong with federal law enforcement and the way the intelligence apparatus works because I've seen it.
Yeah,
I can see what it does.
You also understand how the apparatus it works and doesn't work. I mean, let's look at there's a certain amount of providence that happens when you uncover things, right? So me uncovering the election stuff, I was just looking at Coomer, right? Coomer, I wasn't even looking at him. I was looking for Antifa journalists. So I wasn't looking for him at all. There was no, I'm going to look into elections. That wasn't even on my mind. It wasn't on my radar, right? Mm-hmm. Now, let me fast forward a little bit and give a little bit of
context to this Providence deal. You were on location with Kirkhoff. You were
we were
at the
watching the house next door,
neighbor, right? Over the pipe bomber.
Yep.
Right. She's next door. You get a call from Steve Baker. Steve tells you he's working.
5 years later, I get a call from Steve Baker.
5 years later, you get a call from Steve Baker, and you say, "Is this the address?" And he was like, "That's next door." And you're like,
he told me what the address was. I think my actual first words were MFer. They were in on this.
Yeah.
Because there's no chance that I'm watching a house a week after January 6th, and 5 years later, my friend comes up with, independent of all things, and I'm not consulting or telling me what he's working on at all. He told me, he's like, I think I have a pretty credible subject for the pipe bomber. I was like, oh, cool. Like, what are you into? And he was like, it's not ready yet. Like, I don't feel confident with the information I have. I'm not even going to tell you. We're working on this though, and I think we're getting to something. And then he calls me up and he goes, do you remember when you were doing surveillance in the Northern Virginia area on the Person of Interest 3? I go, yeah, of course. And he goes, the address of the person I think dropped the pipe bomb is a half mile away from the train station that you were talking about. And I go,
then you said, what's the address?
What was the address? Right. And then he tells me, he goes, I got to look it up. I'm driving right now. And I go, never mind. Let me ask you, was it on this street? And the street is, Joe, the street is, it's a cul-de-sac in an apartment building of like condo buildings. And there's 12, probably there's 12 duplex homes on there. So there's not very many. And I'm like, is it on Steps Court? And they don't live there anymore, so it doesn't matter. I go, was it on Steps Court? And he just goes, oh my God. And he like pulls his car off the freaking highway. And then we looked it up. And I mean, imagine you working on something and someone telling you, yeah, I was there 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just, and then the best part was the FBI actually, through Kash Patel and Daniel Bongino, were out there telling the White House. They were smearing my name to the White House saying this guy is a liar and he was never even on that team. And then guess what? Somebody from that team came forward to a member of Congress and shared the emails and the roster for the people that were working that day.
So
and
why is Dan Bongino and Kash Patel working against the interests of the American people? Who
I think different reasons. I don't think they're the same reason.
I mean, but the point is these are this is
quote unquote our team.
This isn't our team though, and I think that's the thing that we look at when we talk about President Trump. And this is one of my biggest frustrations. It's not my frustration in the fact that he's trying to navigate. Look, I've been the CEO of a company. We have lots of people that are working against your interests within your own organization. That happens. No matter what company you have people that I consider what are called boat anchors, right? Boat anchors are people that are trying to slow you down. Well, you're in government. The slowing you down is it's you have 8,000 boat anchors behind you, trying to stop you from moving anything.
But some of them are fatal and some of them are non-fatal. Would you agree?
I mean, I think fatal is when you. I mean,
like if a company and it's like the people that are doing the production on your product, if you are no longer producing your product, then like that's going to sink you. And then at some point you have other problems in customer service or maybe in the logistical chain for speed, or maybe you have people in your sales team that aren't performing at the level you wanted. So you got different things that can kill you in different ways. But there are some things that are fatal right away. The problem is that the intelligence agencies, the IC, that means ODNI, the director of the CIA, and the FBI, those are critical choices. And Trump has made bad choices at DOJ in both terms, and he's made bad choices in the FBI in both terms, and he has chosen poorly, and I think in a really suspect way, for the CIA and ODNI. We had Tulsi Gabbard, who seemed like she was on board with doing the right thing. She's not there anymore. Now we've got a guy who used to be a United States attorney. Pulte's gone. Actually, they just confirmed Clayton.
They just confirmed Clayton.
That was this morning's news. So Clayton, who used to be the United States attorney for the Southern District of New York, and SDNY is a known place that is like government's seat for government. Like there are 3 places you bring prosecution if you want the government to win. The government brings it because it's their strongest place. They do SDNY for all counterterrorism cases, especially overseas, because they win there every time. Mm-hmm. There's the District of Columbia, where they brought most of the J6 cases. And then there's the Eastern District of Virginia. Those are the heaviest places, New York, DC, and just outside of DC. That's where you win if you're the government. And you just put the former United States attorney of SDNY. Now, I don't know if he's a bad guy. I just know the office that he was working in historically does one thing. It works for government. And Donald Trump ran on a disruptor of government. You just put a government guy into ODNI, the Office of Director of National Intelligence, where they oversee the IC, the intelligence community. So he keeps making the most fatal boat anchor choices for your terminology. And at some point it has to be intentional. Nobody can excuse poor performance of a CEO in critical performance metrics for that long, and he's had 2 shots at it.
Well, I think he's, you know, he's, in my opinion, there's another thing at play right now, and that is that I think they got to him through his family. I mean, I think that there's a certain amount of things happened in July of 2025 that really changed the trajectory. He was on he was on a pathway that looked like it was straight up, right? It was not, he was going to destroy everything in its path, and he was doing a damn good job. Remember, he had those meetings.
Yeah, the momentum died just before they came out and said that they shut down the Epstein investigation.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was on the weekend of July 4th, going into July 7th was the actual shutdown. So for people who remember, there were some inklings of something happening in June of 25. I don't know what it was, and the wheels fell off in July of 25.
Yes.
So 1 year ago.
And they fell off.
But what do you think it was?
I mean, I think that the Epstein files had something to do with it, but I think that was cover for something else. And
I also tend to agree. I just like what?
I mean, so the one thing I can say about President Trump is that he loves his family, right? He loves his family. And what happened last year? What happened?
A lot of things happened. I don't know what specifically you're honing in on.
So Kaya turned 18.
Okay. I don't know who that is.
That's his granddaughter.
Okay. I mean, I assume based on the age. I don't know her.
She turned 18. And I think President Trump, and this is just me, I'm surmising something based upon what I'm seeing. Well, you see it on his face. Like he dropped the F-bomb like 6 times in a conversation just 2 days ago, right? Or yesterday.
Okay.
Dealing with Iran. He's losing his patience. And it's not because he's 80 years old and he's tired. He's losing his patience because he's seeing that he has 2 years left. He's looking at this abomination you call the Republican Party, and he's not seeing anything different than he sees in the Democrat Party. He's seeing two sides of the same coin. And I think that in July of last year, someone got to him and started talking about what would happen after he's gone. He's 80 years old, and he's got his granddaughter, and he's got his son Barron, and he's got other grandchildren that are coming up. But I mean, you'd be hard pressed to say that someone in his family has a better relationship than Kaya does with her grandfather. And I think that 18 years old, anything can happen now, right? So she's heading to college. He wants to keep her safe, and I think that family played a big part in it. Here's the thing that I will tell you, though, and here's the problem that I have with that decision, is that nothing can keep them safe. You cannot keep your family safe from evil, right? The Kennedys learned this the hard way. They had the ability to come do some magnificent things. Mm-hmm. Now the Kennedy family is a shell of its former self. The CIA and the really evil people were able to take that entire family out. They did, period.
This is the same problem that we see with like Amy Coney Barrett and the claims that she was threatened, and then her decisions changed, because when you change your behavior based on threats, all it does is tell the people making the threats, like, this is effective, continue on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's essentially what you would be saying he did, though.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think that President Trump has an immense heart for people. I really do. And you can go back in history and look over the last 50 years where he does things very silently. He buys somebody a house. He pays off their mortgage. He gives them a car. He does things in little ways that he sees pain, and he tries to solve that pain. Now he's in the middle of this really big thing. He's been talking about it for 20 years. He's been mulling running for president for 20 years. Gets to the end of his life. He says, okay, I can tackle this. I've tackled a lot of it's hubris, an immense amount of hubris. He thought that for sure that, he could solve this problem. And he thought that he had enough people that would come around him and show loyalty to him that he could get things done. And so he believed what people were telling him, because, that when he was in business, nobody lied to him. And when they did lie to him, they ended up on the bread line, right? And unemployable. I mean, you screwed President Trump when he was in business, and you were inside of the real estate world. Your name was mud. You weren't working for anyone. Nobody wanted to even be associated with you. And that was even during the time that, he was in the negative almost $1 billion. So fast forward to where he's at right now, the machine is different. I mean, you're talking about the devil itself. You're talking about the apparatus that is consumed by evil on both sides of the aisle, that cares about only two things: power and money for themselves. And he came in trying to figure out that he could appeal to, the values of the ethos of America. You can see, you know what, you can tell this about President Trump because he talks about it. He talks about that he wants to believe in, Blue Lives Matter and protecting the police. And he shows an admiration and respect for the people in the military. And he would never walk away from someone in the military and show any amount of disrespect at all. Right. And so everywhere you turn, he goes out of his way to show his admiration and to show his support for those people that have served. Doesn't matter what they've served. Right. And here he is in the middle of that. And these are people, some that have served in government, and they're getting it wrong. They're not only getting it wrong, but they're deliberately betraying the American people. And he is just scrambling. I mean,
he's going to be the one holding the bag at the end of it, though.
Yeah,
he's the quote unquote, he's the leader of the party. So you get to own whatever your party did. And if you couldn't whip him into shape, and again, I agree with you on the hubris bit, you couldn't whip him into shape. You got all the branches, you got all the things going your way nominally. It doesn't mean they're all going your way. And you don't have enough clout to be able to force them in line if the party runs you instead of you running the party. When everybody says you are the party, and you've publicly said as much, and your endorsement equals a primary win, et cetera, then you own the legacy of what that was. And the legacy is going to be mediocrity. It's going to be the exact opposite of what he pitched. And I think people have made the leap. When I say it to people, it really hurts their feelings because they know I'm right. And I actually stole this from Steve Friend. We've arrived on the idea that what people sell as patriotism in 2026 is actually nostalgia. And it's nostalgia for a thing that cannot exist anymore because our nation is not the thing that it was. So the time that you and I talked about with milk cartons and the streetlights and being able to, be gone for a couple hours at a time and have no cell phone, that doesn't exist anymore. That America is no longer here. And part of it is because of the way the world changed after the fall of the Berlin Wall. And we don't have a two-polar system where we're the good guys and they're the bad guys. It's either a multipolar or a single polar. But either way, America doesn't have like a grand sense that it is in the right. And the things they are doing is because of something right. We have all these sins that we've caught up with. And it doesn't matter whether it's because of what happened in Cuba or happened to the Kennedys or happened with LBJ or happened in Vietnam or happened in the Gulf War I, II, or Afghanistan or all that shit. Like all war on terror, the injustices that happened in the United States itself, the surveillance state, all these things have weighed in where people who are otherwise interested in saying, I believe in what this country says it stands for, they also tacitly know that that thing is not true about this country today. And I think it would be hard pressed. And Donald Trump, meanwhile, is walking around doing YMCA and playing 85,000-year-old Lee Greenwood song, which came out in the early 80s, like around the time I was born. And it's like, dude, you're celebrating some shit that's not there anymore. And it looks feeble. It looks weak. It looks frail. It looks out of touch. And you're going to have young people look at it and go, you suck. Even if he came in with all the best of intentions, that hubris equals your legacy is garbage. And he's earning it right now with bad. It feels like also when somebody gets in a spot where they start panicking because the decision-making process is bad. And so they just do bad decision after bad decision. It's like, oh, I lost on this hand of blackjack. I'm going to double down on it and I'm going to try to win it back. And you're now chasing good money with bad rather than just looking and going, okay, look, we had a failure in some of these things. We need to focus on the domestic agenda. I mean, I'm going to have to start at the end of the day, if he had to start putting in interim, temporum people who just knew what the mission was, not ass kissers, but people who knew what the mission was, even if it was the lowest person in the totem pole at CIA or retired people that are out there saying the right things where you get the sense that these people have really committed to it and that something has cost them. That's what I saw his failure. He never once have said, who are the people who have lost the most over this and haven't gone out and compromised their principles? They didn't sell out when they had an opportunity to. Those are the people I would want in. You went and put Kash Patel, who basically was just like sneaking around wearing sequins or cowboy hats or whatever shit made him look like the right guy, custom suits that seemed flashy. And he took flash and style over substance. And he should have had some people that hurt his feelings. Like Joe Kent shouldn't be gone. If somebody tells you the truth and it hurts your feelings, that's probably someone you need to have around you.
Well, I think that I think that that's my biggest issue, right? What we just said is my biggest issue. In that, Joe Kent is an honorable man in 100 different ways. And, but there are other people that he's been right about. He's been right about Lauren Boebert. I mean, this is a person that didn't graduate from high school that really I mean, she poured drinks for a living, right? And she became the darling of the Republican Party, runs around screaming at the top of her lungs, and has betrayed nearly every single person in the sphere of Republicans as she become a cutthroat player that could sell out to the highest bidder. And it cost her marriage, right? And her kids being completely off the rails now. And I mean, I hope it was worth it, right? I hope it was worth it. But, you know, this is the battle cry of the Republican Party. The Republican Party is, you know, you want to talk about the Lee Greenwood song of the
I hate
the
that
80s.
song so much, man.
But
I hate that song.
My point is that you can't wish yourself back to a place of ethics and morality, right? You have to.
No,
do
it
the
has to
hard
be
work.
done by a
You have to-
strong, aggressive guiding hand, and we
Right.
have to all agree that that's where we want to go. And the funny thing is the guys like you and me, like this is why I focus on the Fs that I talked about, because I know that you and I are the minority,
Yeah.
and if you're being honest, you do too. The position of smaller government, less government involvement based on Christian principles and people doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do, that is not the standard in America. It's
No,
not the
it's
standard in politics for sure, because we could field 600 people to fill every single major executive role and all the positions in Congress. We could fill the top 35 places in the White House, or the top 65 places in the White House and the governmental agencies, and we could fill the Senate and the House. We could do that. There's 600 honorable, decent people that would be able to be uncompromising in principle, but we
you
could
can't
never get them into
past
office.
The apparatus. You can't
You
pass the
never get
apparatus
them
at
in.
the
They wouldn't
state
even
level.
make it past the primary.
And that's my point, is that
Yeah.
the system is so corrupt and so rotted from the core that, I mean, you can't even change the political structure of the Republican Party at the state level.
I know.
Where
Okay,
they
so
use-
you're this
where they
this
use-
close. You're
Yeah.
this close. You're almost where I've been at.
Well, look, I'm at the point now where nobody gets my money, right? So
Well, that's a good thing.
I've now
I think
gotten to a
the
place
answer,
where
though, is that
people-
it has to fall. It has to naturally fall apart,
but
which
it's-
is why
it's
I
already
think that
fallen apart. What we
it
have
is,
now
but
is
but it's the stability, the death wobble or the death rattle will happen for as long as it can take it on. They will prolong that as long as necessary, which is why I keep telling people, it's like focus on the things you can fix within your own home, your own fitness, your own ability to be resilient. Financial security is probably another F that you could throw in there if you can handle it. But you want to be able to solve those problems internally, because if things get rowdy, I don't think they will get rowdy across the whole country all at once. I don't think I've had this conversation with people who have watched other nation states fall apart. And there's a couple of ways it can go. You can have it go sort of the route where it's regionalized conflict and then sort of a reshuffling until it gets back on its feet in some other organization, or you can have it go like the way of the Balkans. And if it goes the full Balkanization, the full ethnic cleansing of Bosnians by Serbs and Serbs by Bosnians, and Croatians killing anybody that comes into their space because they're just trying to hold on to some stability, then you end up with a really dark worst case scenario. And so I don't know what it's going to be, and I'm not wishing any of it. I just think that inevitably that this system, as we talked about corruption, it cannot continue on indefinitely. Part of it's independent media. Part of it is decentralized from social media. Part of it is that the people are just going to be under strain. There's a financial strain that eventually hits some kind of a fever pitch for people. And the system is not self-supporting. You can't fake it as long as you did. I think this actually would have naturally come apart in the late 1990s. And I think that's why we had 9/11.
Well, no, hold on a second. I think the reason why that they had to build a system where they could steal elections is because they had a plan. I mean, the 2030 plan's been around, by the way, for the last 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
They just didn't think they could get there, and they tried to do it by
this is
lying
what
to
I'm
the
saying, though.
American
This is
people.
the attitude that people had at the end of the 1990s was like F this shit o'clock. This is a problem. And people were fed up with the corruption of it, and then they felt like nothing could change. There are books that were written at the time that are commensurate with it. There were decisions, there were speeches being given, there were movies. It was reflected in the popular culture and the arts, where people were just going like, this is not sustainable. And the one thing that happened that nudged us on was externalizing a foe, and 9/11 did that. Even if it was, it may have been a false flag, but it would externalize a foe, and you got a resurgence of American patriotism for at least another 8 or 10 years. And it's been limping away from that since then.
But I mean, look, the outcome was actually different. So the attack on 9/11, which was sent a shockwave through America, then was replaced with what happened in 1990. Would you say 1998 with Matthew Shepard?
98. Yep.
Okay, so just follow me with this.
Mm-hmm.
They build this no hate environment, right? This is when the downfall of kids are being told that they can all win a merit badge. This is the era that it started. right? Everyone
Yeah,
gets
the
surprised.
air of political correctness.
Right. And so you look at what happened in 98, you look at the media cycles and the things that they were doing with Mockingbird, it became a real thing in the 90s, like 90s and 2000s. It started to basically escalate. I think they saw the problem, but what happened with 9/11 is it was pre-planned. They knew, like they were all part of it. I mean, Bush was a part of it. I don't look at it so much as a conspiracy theory as much as that it can't happen the way it happened if people weren't orchestrating it to happen that way.
It's the same story as October 7th.
Yeah, same story.
Yeah.
Same story.
You don't have to plan the attack. You just have to let it happen because the benefits of it outweigh the cost of it to you.
Right.
And that is such a morally repugnant position for you to hold about your own government. And yet it's still the most likely thing that goes down. And I think people inside the CIA even recognize it. And they recognized it only because of one thing, because of what happened during COVID. I think COVID allowed people to look and go, holy shit, the depth of this evil. And that takes us back to the opening comments of Anthony Fauci. The depth of this evil, it's not new. It's not unfamiliar. It's just visible. It's been revealed, and it doesn't want to say its own name. It doesn't want to tell you what it is. What's your name? It's like the exorcists that are, tell me the name of the demons. And they say, well, we're Legion. We're not going to name because the name is the power. People got to see what it was, and it's still not ready to just reveal that, okay, this is what it is. This is what it looks like. But everybody saw what evil looked like. It was, I'm going to cancel you because you're going to make a choice about something that has nothing to do with me. You don't want to get a shot and bow down to the supreme authority of this government to inject you with dead baby parts. Then we're going to ruin your career, and we're going to take away your livelihood, and we're going to potentially imprison you if you try to take your kids to a park. I mean, it doesn't get much darker than that.
So this brings me to this one. So I want to play this first before we do. I want to play the what Senator Paul had to say about Fauci, and then I want to give you. I'm going to give you the most ridiculous. But while we're doing this, by the way, yes, I know I've already been told that people are having to move from Rumble over to X. I'm going to ask everyone, no matter what platform you're on, to just go ahead and hit the share button. You can hit the repost if you're on X. If you're on Rumble, just make a copy, paste, put it on your socials. Yes, I get it. You're the ones that actually need to be able to share the truth. This is a great conversation that Kyle and I are having. It's up to you, though. Like, I already know that I'm on the bad list, and they don't want people to hear what we have to say. Kyle's on the same list. We're both hanging out together in this list, okay? Your obligation is to hit the share button, hit the thumbs up, and to do the things that help promote and push the truth forward. So while we're actually listening to this, I want you to hit the share button, regardless of what platform you're on. If you're on Roku, I just want to say thank you to you. It's good to be on the TV. And if you're on Amazon, I want to thank you for your subscriptions. Let's go ahead and play this cut 3.
Ordering it. President Biden issued you a sweeping pardon extending back to 2014, the same pardon he gave to his son Hunter. A pardon may protect a person from criminal prosecution, doesn't rewrite history. It does not erase documents. It does not convert a misleading statement into a truthful one. And it does not prevent Congress from establishing what happened. There will be another pandemic. There will be another crisis. And there will again be officials who insist that uncertainty must be hidden for the public's own good. They will demand obedience. They will invoke science. I am the science, as though it were a commandment. They will argue that government officials cannot be questioned because questioning them would undermine public trust. They have it backwards. It is secrecy that destroys trust. It is arrogance that destroys trust. It is censorship that destroys trust. And it is the refusal to admit error that destroys trust. That loss of trust may be your most damaging legacy. Trust can't be ordered. It has to be earned. No scientist is above scrutiny. No government official is beyond accountability. And no public servant has the right to treat the suffering of millions of Americans as a footnote to his preferred version of history.
Kabuki Theater.
That's it, man. I mean, that's a great speech.
Great speech. It's one that you want to go down into history, but you did nothing.
It's like when you watch somebody. It's like when you watch somebody give a great speech in a movie, and then you're like, oh, but that was about a pretend moment that didn't actually happen. And the impact of that speech sounds great. It's great literature. It's very inspiring. Think about the speech from Independence Day, Bill Pullman's character as the president of the United States. We won't go quietly into the night. It's like, yeah, dude, what gets you more rocked up than that? And then you're like, oh, it was all about a fake alien invasion. They were sitting on a movie set and they did 10 takes of that to get the best one. It's just bullshit. It's really nice sounding bullshit though.
That's
to be fair.
That is my problem. It's really nice sounding bullshit.
I know. I just don't have any patience for it.
Millions of Americans died, and if I don't get anything across more specifically than we get this across, I want to say this. They murdered grandma. They told us that 2 weeks to slow the spread, and then they just murdered her. And they murdered her grandfather. And then they murdered her brothers and our sisters and our cousins and our husbands and our wives. And they did so under the guise of trust us, bro. And everything since then has been trust us, bro. It was trust us, bro before, but now it's trust us, bro on steroids. Inject this into your body, and millions more died.
They died alone. And for people that, like, I didn't have anybody die alone in my family. We didn't have anybody that went through that. Joe, I made the my son was born in 2021 in March in Inova Fairfax Hospital. Okay. And it was ground zero for retarded in America at that time. Biden administration, second month in, all the crazy stuff. I went into that hospital when my wife was in labor with an AR-15 in a backpack and my handgun on my belt and an FBI agent and a badge and all the things, whatever sort of authorities, which by the way was a lot scarier then because I was like, oh, I could totally lose my job over something stupid happening here. And she was like, what if they won't give us our baby? What if they won't let us take home our baby because we didn't get those shots? And I was like, well, we're going to be on the run to Mexico in the next couple hours then because I'm taking our baby is coming home with us and no one's going to stop me up to and including whatever that involves. And I had mentally committed that like somebody tries to stop me, they're going to have to actually realize that they're going to do the same thing that Muhammad, what's his name?
Muhammad Abdullah.
That guy, he walked up to you and he was like, you know what? I don't got it. Like, not today. You know, like every once in a while we make a decision where we think we're about to ante up into a game. And then we're like, nah, I don't think I'm ready to call this pot. Like they would have had to make that decision looking into my eye, knowing that my son was coming home with me and that I was willing to go on the run, wherever the hell that meant. And it would have been the end of our freedom and maybe the end of my life, but I wasn't going to let my kids sit in that hospital. And I had mentally committed that it's like, this is the line. You don't get to tell me yes or no to my own child, nor do you get to tell me yes or no to my own body. These are non-negotiables. And if that starts a revolution in only my little house and we're the end of it, so be it. Or if it starts a kickoff where everyone else goes, yeah, F this, we're not doing that. I don't know. But I knew that I had already made that decision. And so when someone came and told me, they were like, hey, you have to have the shot. And I go, no, thank you. No, thank you. That was my first answer. No, thank you. Not interested. And they go, well, you must. And I go, but I won't. I'm not interested. And I'm not on board for that. So you can fire me. You can take my job, but I don't do that. So let me know if I still work here. And then they went, well, but you must do this other thing that instead you must stick stuff up your nose and wear a mask and stand on your head and tap your toes and pick your nose in front of us. And I went, no, I'm not going to do that either. And then they go, well, then you can't come in. I go, I'll see you on Monday. And I came back in on Monday. You know, it's like we had an opportunity. And what we found is that a huge chunk of this country actually failed. And so some people are going to have to be listening to this and you're going to have to recognize when you say, well, they forced me to do something. Nobody forced you to do anything. You agreed to something because you weren't willing to pay the cost that it took to say no. And I don't hold that against you. And I don't think anybody should hold that against you. That was your own decision. What Americans say is they want freedom, but what in reality they want is freedom from responsibility. So a lot of us wanted to say, it's not my fault. The government told me I had to do something. What choice did I have? And the answer is you had the entire choice. And now you know it. You don't have any excuse to unknow it. So all the theater in the world, you just saw the guy who went out and did it. The Fauci types, they're not even willing to own up to it, knowing that they've been pardoned and they can't even be prosecuted because they're ashamed of it. And that's how you know you're right. Now you have to continue to make decisions that are along those lines, just for you in your own house. You don't have the ability to affect everything else.
It gets worse because we need to talk about the haves and the have-nots. And what you said is, look, remember, I could have gone to prison for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, they'd have to prove, and I promise you they're out there trying to prove it. Like, where's the video of this? And I wanted to make sure that I was completely, and I had to say hypotheticals, and here's what I did. And the good news is the statute of limitations ran out. But I had to sneak into a hospital to administer ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine into a bag to save a man's life.
Mm-hmm.
Because they wanted to put him on a ventilator. They wanted to put him on paralytics. They had him on a high flow. They know we need to put him on they were going to kill this man.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
they killed a lot of others. So it wouldn't be the first one. Yeah.
So
we know
4 days in a row, I had to sneak in to a hospital and save this man's life. And I kept thinking to myself, I should just walk through the front door, grab the doctor by the throat, dragged him across the floor and said, we were going to give the man this what's going to save his life.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't, nobody did. There's this paralysis analysis that happens when you want to trust. You want to trust, man, good people want to trust. And when you figure out that the devil itself is literally leading you right off a cliff and killing your moms, killing your dads, I mean, it's hard to reconcile that.
Yeah,
it's hard to reconcile.
It's an evil that people are not prepared to accept. This is, like I said, I don't hold anybody accountable for decisions that were made in 2020 outside of, like, you know, blatant evil shit that people did directly to you when they looked in the eyes and said, I know what's right and wrong, and I'm going to do the wrong thing. And I had that happen to me. I had a boss straight up tell me, he said, I know that you're right. I know what I'm doing is wrong, and I'm going to do it anyway because of my convenience, my pension, my alimony that I have to pay, my new wife who's home COVID, you know, sick with COVID right now, even though she got the shots. Like, when you say that, it's like, okay, that's not really forgivable. I'm not going to sit and dwell on it, but I won't ever forget that. Yeah. But what you do have is a second opportunity, because that time passed. And I keep saying this on my podcast in the mornings. We wanted to make people beg for COVID amnesty, right? They wanted to have forgiveness for the moments that had took place. And we didn't get that. And we weren't even asked for that. We weren't asked, like, hey, can you forgive us for the things we did? What we got was COVID amnesia, where people said, we're going to just act like that didn't even happen. And you just had Anthony Fauci sit up there and tell you, I'm not going to tell you, because he knows exactly what happened. Two things happened in the last, let's call it 72 hours. There was the release of his personal diaries, which showed his thought process at the time. So it goes to mindset, premeditation, goes to hubris, it goes to all the things that he was doing. So you know there was no mistake.
It was treason, brother.
And then the second thing of it is that he came up in there and he said, I'm not going to talk about it, because not because it would cause me any legal pain in reality, which Josh Hawley pointed out, but because it would embarrass me and it would detract from my sense of worth. And then the last thing that happened is that my friend Jim Erdman came forward and he spoke about it in front of hearings, and he spoke about it for years prior. For people who don't know, he went to the classified environment to make whistleblowing disclosures, which is usually not possible. You're actually usually not allowed to give classified information, but he chose to pursue a path that did that as a whistleblower. And then lastly, in the last 72 hours, he went on Tucker Carlson's show and he shared information with the American people.
I want to play that video. I want to play this one first, because did you get a chance to watch the Fauci stuff?
Which one? The hearing?
Fauci, yeah, the hearing.
I didn't watch it. I already knew it. I saw the clips and I was like, okay, what did he do other than say 111 times that he's not going to say? Yeah.
So I want to play this, because the reason why the American people can never get to the bottom of the truth is because the truth is not allowed to be heard.
Right.
And to discuss that even though it's kabuki theater, what Paul said and what Hawley said, it's all true stuff. Like, what they said was true.
Yeah.
The fact is that they're gumming at it, though. They have no teeth and they have no courage. Like, neither one of them. They should have gotten up and went down there and copped a charge and beat the living shit out of Fauci. That's what should have happened. That's what should happen to diabolical people. They should get their teeth kicked in. But we don't do that anymore, because we're this civilized society that lets us drop bombs on other countries, but we can't take care of our own evil problem that we have here. We let it out after 6 months to go rape another 9-year-old child.
That's right.
I want to play this. This is TMZ. And let me say this about TMZ. Fuck you, TMZ. Fuck you. Right? Go ahead and play it.
That's fair.
I have not used TMZ's YouTube channel to vent personal feelings about issues, but I'm going to do that today. Watching Anthony Fauci before a congressional hearing taking the Fifth Amendment is just one of the most heartbreaking things I have seen in government in my lifetime. And this is something we need to reckon with. That I'm going to say up front, I have problems the way the CDC handled COVID. I think that they did damage to children, to adults, and I don't think they did it maliciously. I think they did it because they were using their judgment and were overprotective, and I think at times overstated things they said they knew but really didn't. And I have personal problems with the way that COVID was handled. That said, Anthony Fauci, over a period of decades, has been an amazing public servant. In the 80s, I had many friends who died of AIDS, a horrible, painful death. And I had friends who lived because of Anthony Fauci, because he was willing to look at experimental drugs in a different way than they had looked at them before. And that
all right, I can't listen to his, you want to go watch it to TMZ. First of all, he just took credit for something he had nothing to do with. Fauci had nothing to do with any of the things that led to anything happening with the AIDS epidemic. Nothing. Zero. Nothing that he did. No research that he did. Nothing. Anthony Fauci was responsible for nothing. Zero. Other than telling us that you can get AIDS by looking at someone across the room. He created and spread more falsities about AIDS and subsequent viruses and or sicknesses across the world over the last 30 years. I mean, this guy, I just can't. I cannot even stomach it. But that's why the American people can't get to the bottom of it. Oh, I can't believe what they did to Fauci. Are you serious? His own notes.
He should have been stomped to death.
He tear his throat out. Make him. You know what? Make the guy move around with having to blow through a tube for the rest of his life. Make him suffer the same consequences that families had to suffer by losing loved ones way too early because of the diabolical nature of these people that planned it. They planned this. I hate that. The amount of rage that I have right now towards people like that are evil people is just, I can't even put it into words. And then he got a pardon.
Yeah, you guys made me look him up.
What?
Well, I didn't know anything about him. Harvey Levin, the guy who
piece of shit. He's a total piece. He's been a piece of shit forever. He makes a living off of someone else's demise.
When someone says I had a lot of friends die from AIDS, it's like, oh, how many friends did you have die from AIDS? Is that a thing? It's like, oh, of course you're a homosexual guy from California who, like, of course
part
you
of the
are.
Tribe, the synagogue of Satan, same one.
He's also Jewish too. So there you go.
So they just do whatever they want, right? I mean, it's not.
I guess I just didn't know that about him.
They're not Jewish. They're a group of people that are just demonically evil, and demonically evil stand up.
Well, their whole business model is dog shit, and they're dog shit people. But I just didn't know that. I didn't know he was a gay guy. Why would I even know? Why would I ever give a shit about who runs that? But if you're going to make apologies for Anthony Fauci, now I start wondering, like, it's kind of like if you want to be buddies with Jeffrey Epstein. It just tells us an awful lot about who you are as a person.
It tells you a ton about who they are. A ton. Absolutely.
I mean, it's like these people, it's like they didn't have a mother who told them that you're going to be judged by the company you keep.
This is the same guy, by the way, that said that Jeffrey Epstein got a raw deal. This is the same guy, right? Jeffrey Epstein got a raw deal. Yeah. F you, Harvey, you little prick. All right. So then let's talk about this. I want to put this up just so you can see it, but Biden never signed Dr. Fauci's pardon. We have this. This is N Wokeness put this up.
Yeah, I've got a copy of it on my desk.
Yeah, he never signed Fauci's pardon. The White House staffers did it with an auto pen.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this was January 19th meeting, which took place in the Yellow Oval Room in the White House residence. Mr. Biden kept his aides nearly 10 p.m. to talk through such decisions, according to people familiar with the matter. Emails showed that an aide to Mr. Sickle sent a draft summary of Mr. Biden's decision in the meeting to an assistant to Mr. Zietz.
I sent it to you over in our signal group, but I sent you the Department of Justice maintains a copy of the executive clemency order. I just sent it to you if you want to see it.
Yeah, I think we have it. Do we have it?
I don't know. I pulled it off the web. It's on Justice Department website.
Let me just do this little thing right here. Forward
and share.
There, boom. But here's the actual pardon. Go ahead and put it up. Post 5. No, not post 5.
There
we go.
Yeah.
But if you look at this, then go up so we can see it. No, down. Sorry. Down is up is down. Go ahead. Do the other way.
Scroll to bottom.
Scroll to bottom. There you go.
Yeah, it's a mechanical signature.
Mechanical signature. Fully. So he never signed it. Joe Biden never signed that.
Nobody wants to test that, though. That's the thing that we were talking about. It's like nobody wants to test it, because if you test it, then you find out, well, these things don't hold any water, and they must be manually and intentionally signed by the president. And what would we undo? I mean, how do we know what he intended and that he didn't intend it? And God forbid. And so, like, nobody wants to challenge us. We heard a big talk coming in. This is that momentum that disappeared. Up until maybe summer of last year, there was a discussion about, hey, if you have an auto pen pardon, we're going to go and challenge it, and we're going to bring cases.
So I need everyone to understand something that is more diabolical than what you just saw in the pardon. The pardon, if you missed it, dates back to 2014. Okay? So the pardon is dated back to 2014, which means everything he did up until 2014 for 10 years. You know what else happened in 2014? NIH awarded a grant study to study bat coronaviruses at the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
Yeah.
The same place, by the way. And we know what? We knew within 3 days that it came from Wuhan laboratory, but it was shut down. President Trump said it came from a lab in Wuhan, China. And they're like, no, it came from a bat from a wet factory or wet market. They were lying to us up front, and the media was being used in order to stop the truth from coming out. That's how you know that President Trump is actually a good guy. It's because he's been ahead of himself, and they kept putting more stories over top of him, like they're doing right now. The same thing that happened with the Epstein deal, right? Oh yeah, he's in the deal. 4,300 times he sent money to Jeffrey Epstein. It's completely fallacious. It's not even real. But they use
all that said. Again, at some point you have to own the fact that you didn't put people in that were going to get your back, that were on the same page. Like I did see it. Like, he lost money in the first administration. I think that at the end of the day, even if he made mistakes there, he was attempting the right thing. He got my vote for the third term, for the second and the third term. I didn't vote for him the first time around. I didn't vote for anybody. I was at the academy. But we're dealing with at some point, you own the fact that the people you put around you have screwed you. Like, who's responsible for trusting? Like, at some point, you're responsible for the trust you put in people.
No, I agree with you.
That's what bothers me. And I don't like seeing people write it off. It's like, look, we're all human. We all fail. At some point, you either got to not fail, because the mission is a no-fail mission. And this was a no-fail mission. It's a no-fail mission that I think has been failed. And I'm not sure you can recover it at this point. Like, we're in a fatal wobble on it. So don't tell me that it's going to be okay, or that if they just get one more shot at this, the right guys are going to come in. There's no evidence of that. The right guy got in, as far as we could tell. The estimation is that this is the guy. The Americans outsourced a violent revolution to one guy, and he started off looking pretty impressive, working the day that he was sworn in till 10 o'clock at night, signing executive orders saying, this is what we're doing. This is the agenda. And it was like, hell yeah, dude. I saw that and I went, okay, good. We might actually get something out of this. Wouldn't that be incredible? And that tapered off almost immediately within the first month, when I saw the people that were coming in doing exactly what they do, which is slow everything down, play to the status quo, try to get things back to business as usual, try not to have too many apple carts upset, shut down Doge, stop worrying about fraud. We need to turn back on the money, or we're going to kill a bunch of people if we can send it around the globe. Like, we're still sending out foreign aid as Americans that are $40 trillion in debt. And we don't have to agree on the number. The United States puts money into other countries when we have enough problems in this country that need to be solved. And it's not going to be solved because we put money into God knows what country that we've never been to or heard of.
Oh, I totally agree with you.
And you're taking it from Americans' pockets, or you're printing it, which means you're stealing it from the Americans' savings accounts. You're taking it from the value of their dollar, and you're giving it to the rest of the world. What on earth are you doing? What on earth does that have to do with making America great again, or making America put first in the minds of the people that are there? And so that ends up with this. Everyone uses the term globalist. Have you noticed, Joe? And we never really talk about why that is a problem. I never heard any, like, I know that why it is, and I know that people understand it, but it should be reminded the reason why globalist is a slur. It's the opposite of being a nationalist. A nationalist says that you have a nation, and that is the people who live in your country. It's not the government of the country. It's the people that are there.
Should get your loyalty.
They should have your loyalty. They should have the fiduciary duty of the people that are serving them is to them. And if you're a globalist, it means that you put all people equal, including the people that you don't answer to, that you've assigned yourself as their protector. How dare you? Like, how freaking dare you?
Yeah, it is. They've created an environment right now where you can see it. I mean, people like you, like me, like other people can see it. We're just trying to find our tribe. And frankly, I think if we find that density, I think we find the same mission-focused density with people like you and me and even Steve Friend. I mean, I could name probably 24 people.
Mm-hmm.
But if we could find a group of people it wouldn't take more than 5,000. It really wouldn't. You have 5,000 people that are willing to stand together, a lot of things can happen, right? And I think that'll lead to a bigger 5,000, lead to 50,000, lead to 100,000. I mean, first of all, I don't want my tax dollars going to anything that they're spending money on right now. None. I'd rather hand it out myself to people. I don't want to give any more money to feed the machine. And I think one of the problems that I face right now is that it's so diabolical what we face, and it's such lies what we face that we find ourselves having this conversation about the fact that this globalist environment is making decisions for us, but more importantly, it's resetting the temperature of the entire world. Like, it literally is going around the globe and controlling 185 out of 190 nations, including places like Poland, which I thought were, insulated. And now you have them having the same, you have mass migration, you have problems with the immigrants that are coming in there that are basically taking advantage of it.
It needs total compliance. It's like, it's the same thing as the COVID shot mentality. It's the same thing that we used to hear the evil empire and the communist mentality was like the Borg, like you must be assimilated. And people were like, no, that's the enemy. And compliance is required. Resistance is supposed to be futile. So they come after you with everything possible, whether it be monetary systems or whether it be, immigration, whether it come with just a moral argument, with shame and excommunication from the community of nations. Like they'll try literally every pressure on every holdout.
1,000%. So I want to play this video. This is the CIA. It was on Tucker Carlson, your friend.
Yeah, Jim Erdman.
Jim Erdman. I want to get him on, by the way, have a conversation with him.
He's awesome. He's an awesome guy.
But in this case, he's talking about,
he's talking about the depth of, if people inside the animal can see that there's something that evil out there.
This is it. Let's play it.
Did the CIA fully cooperate with DNI Gabbard's investigations?
No, not at all. And here's, in my opinion, this is how they operate. They're the adult in the room. They say, hey, listen, we've got these concerns, and they'll bring up every bureaucratic reason why we need to slow roll and just double check everything, dot I's, cross T's. Again, there's good reasons to dot I's and cross T's, but it's bureaucratic guerrilla warfare. So that's how it starts. Once they start into that, they're looking for anything that goes wrong so that they can say, oh, I don't know, something's going wrong over here.
Do you stand by your testimony that the CIA illegally monitored and spied on DNI Gabbard's investigative team?
I do.
What's the evidence?
And if you're having a private conversation on a secure line with a whistleblower, you know what you don't want? You don't want a surprise visitor on some sort of listening in. And that is what happened. According to the IT people over at DNI, that requires a technical fix. A technical, like somebody has to go do something to make that happen. And when we started looking at where the individual was working that was on the other line, It's over at a CIA office involved in breaking into phone lines. And you can't make this up. So you're like, that's a little strange. Oh, and one day after we interviewed, a person came in as a whistleblower on the COVID investigation, and one day later he was fired by China Mission Center.
Why would the CIA want to disrupt these investigations?
It's a really good question. There's clearly some people who did not want the things that were being discovered released in the manner that they were being released.
All right, so it's important that we watch that, but because I think that prefaces this next video.
Well, the deep thing that he said that he drops on Tucker in a way that I hadn't heard him explain it before is that our president and our government, members of our government, go to the intelligence community, but specifically the CIA as the head agency there, as though they are a foreign nation with independent interests. Yes. And treating them as though they have sovereignty over what they do. They have a confidential or a classified budget. Oversight is not possible if you don't know where your money is going. They have illogical names of agency departments so that you can't necessarily do oversight in a meaningful way, saying how much money is going to this place and what does this thing do? And the answer is like, well, you'd be better if you didn't know. And then they accept that as an answer. So he says that they basically are treated as though they are an independent, sovereign, internal nation. This is an unacceptable way. You cannot have a governmental agency that's not accountable to the elected officials. That is the opposite of America. And we're living under that right now, as being told by a guy who spent, a long time there. There's some side story that I can't actually share into it, but Jim was there for plenty of time to be able to do it. He ended up with a retirement pension from them.
I want to play this other video from Tucker Carlson. It's a minute and a half. But I think it tells a different story, and just he was really not subdued, but more matter of fact with the first interview. This one is not matter of fact. This is just coming right at you with a howitzer. Let's play it.
The information, there was a Homeland Security investigator that was given the information and asked to pursue this.
What was his name?
The Osborne. And so he was found dead weeks later in his apartment, in his condo. And that's worrisome. It's worrisome because there's questions about how he died. And, there's a lot of people who don't want to talk about Mr. Osborne and his death.
Why?
Well, I think what they don't want. Why don't they want to talk about it? They don't want to talk about
There's no obituary, I notice.
Yeah. Well, it's still an open question about how he died. Okay. We don't know. Did he commit suicide? He was
killed by a gunshot.
He was killed by a gunshot. Okay. And it's worrisome because if he was pushing to pursue this investigation, and people don't want to talk about it because they say, well, listen, we got to let the system work the investigation. We got to let the system figure out whether or not there's something to this. My issue with that is if there is nefarious intent, which I hope to God this is just some horrible thing that happened to this poor man, or if it's suicide, I hope his family isn't suffering, all those things. I pray for him, pray for his family. But if there was nefarious action that occurred with that, this is not something you want hidden behind a wall of secrecy, because it's not safe for anybody else who was aware of what was happening with that. It has to be talked about publicly. And I hope that Fairfax County Police, because that's where the investigation is going on, I hope they're getting to the bottom of it.
He's talking about the Homeland Security investigator that was looking into the pipe bomb investigation, for people's context, if that wasn't obvious to people. And the active investigation in Fairfax County is a homicide investigation. He was the guy that was brought in from HSI, from Homeland Security Investigations, by the people in the dig, by a Tulsi Gabbard select group at ODNI, of which Jim was one of them. And Jim knew Mark Osborne. And by all accounts, it looks like he was killed looking into that story, just as they were arresting Brian Cole Jr., which happened in the beginning of December. He was dead before Christmas, and maybe even right around the exact same time it happened. I don't have an exact date of death, but within a couple of, like 2 weeks, one way or the other, of the naming of their basically fall guy, which doesn't fit any of the patterns, and their exoneration of a CIA employee, the DHS investigator that was involved in this, is dead in his apartment from an apparent suicide that nobody saw coming. And he had an awful lot to live for, as far as anybody could tell, with no visible signs of depression.
So I have, I mean, just so you know, I mean, I think I've told you this. I have cameras on my house. I got guns in every drawer. I just opened the drawer and there's another gun.
MBD.
And I don't like going to Costco. I don't like going anywhere. I carry a gun everywhere I go. I'm suspect of everyone that walks down the driveway, I mean, anything that could possibly happen around me. I go into a restaurant, I sit with my back to the wall. I always have my gun on the ready. I typically am dressed to make sure that I can protect my family. I'm looking at ways that I have to push the table this way or this way to protect my family. I think about those things all the time. Like it's always going through my mind. I recognize it's probably not a healthy way to have to go through life, but I know you're the same way.
Yeah.
Right.
I had one of the guys that I was talking to just retired from the FBI the other day, and he goes, you know, you got a lot of guns there. And I go, yeah. Can you imagine being in the SWAT briefing if they had to say that they were coming to my house? And he goes, yeah, back in the day, we would have been amped up about that. That would have been like a Super Bowl. And I go, yeah, what you couldn't tell is that I have armor in different weapons. And he goes, what's that? I was like, well, you've heard of armor piercing. And he goes, mm-hmm. I go, well, those are the things that go through your body armor. The things that I have in my house are indifferent to whether or not you're wearing body armor, like a 40-foot flamethrower. Like the mindset that I have is like, if it's going, you know, this is clearly the Alamo for me.
Yep.
If somebody's willing to come into my home and take me out of it, because I know I haven't done anything wrong.
Right. That's how I feel about it.
That's the stand that we're at. Yeah. Wherever I'm standing is the Alamo. That's the mentality. Yeah. And if you don't understand that, that's something that people can chew on for a little bit, but I know that you have that. I know that we share that, which is, yeah, as you said, it may be not unhealthy, but it's not fun, really.
Right. No, it's not fun.
That's why I don't drink anymore. I think as much as anything else. I haven't had a drink in a couple of years. Yeah. It's like, well, I can't dull the edge.
And I quit drinking, called you and said, hey, look, I quit drinking. That was 2 years ago.
I know.
Right. And you're like, that's good job. And I was
Welcome
like,
to the team.
I felt like I couldn't be in control. And look, I got a whole shelf full of alcohol.
I know.
Every now and then I just want a little bourbon. And I'm like, nope, can't do it. Stay sharp, stay on the ready, stay on the ready, stay on the ready, stay on the ready. Like the guy that told me to move.
That came out of you and I hanging out in Tennessee the other day, 2 years ago.
Yeah, it did.
I know.
Yeah. That was
what's funny
kind
is
of
that
a moment for me.
It was interesting because you were like, you know, you want to have a drink with me? And I go, I don't really do that anymore. I don't know when it stopped. I don't know what time before that it did, but it stopped a year or two before because my wife stopped drinking. She thought she had a problem, so she didn't want to drink. It's like, okay. I was like, well, I don't really need this either. I might as well keep the knife sharp. I don't think I've really had a real drink since I left the FBI, which would have been in April of 22. I don't think I've really.
I had a drink with you. I had a drink with you in Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, I've said I haven't sat down and been like, oh, I'm just going to have a recreational, like I'm just hanging out. Yeah. There's no particular reason. Like I'm meeting a friend that I haven't seen in a long time. I had one or two. It wasn't like a thing that I couldn't do it, but it more or less I've basically kept the razor blade as sharp as possible, knowing that I might wake up in the middle of the night and I don't need to add any grogginess to it. I'm already tired.
I'm ready to go.
So that mentality is not. It's not fun, but it's because things like what happened to Mark Osborne we know that they're real. And everybody talks about, well, the government could kill you. It's like, yeah, they could. Do you know anyone who's been killed by the government? Because we've got some records of people that didn't come out of this.
Yeah. And this gets me to, I mean, I think we can probably, I mean, I could go on for 3 hours with you.
Yeah, that's our nature.
Yeah. We really do want to work the problem. And I think that, yeah, it is. Like I have all my faith in Jesus, every bit of it. Like I know that but God. I always use those two words, but God. Like evil's going to win, but God. He's not going to let it happen. He'll destroy it first, right? And then I have conversations with people like you, where I talk to Steve and I talk to other people where I'm like, there's still a lot of us. Like there's still a lot of us that are on the ready. Like we're ready. Like if you called me tomorrow and said, Joe, someone's coming to my house And I'm like, what do you mean they're coming to your house? Yeah, they said they'll be here in 5 hours. I'd be there before they were. Even if I had to net jet it out there, right? And I know that I'd bring all my battle rattle stuff, and I'd be ready to go. I'd be on the go, right? Right. That's the type of mentality that I think that the American spirit has to espouse. I think we have to get back to that. We have to find our tribe. I think it's there. I think it's there. I just think that we're gonna
it's in diaspora right now.
Yeah. We're looking, we're searching. And because we don't trust each other, there's a certain number of us that trust, and then somebody comes in, and because, Team Evil knows how to lie, I don't want to be associated with Team Evil. So I'm not going to, I'm going to be really careful who I'm going to give up my loyalty to, right? And they know that. They know that they built that, right? So there you go. All right. I do want to play this. I just want to show you this real quick. People do not understand your humor at all.
Do they not? Oh, this is oh God, it's pretty funny. Man, I hooked everybody from both sides on this one.
It was, I'm just going to tell you that you put this up and you said only a trained sniper recon assassin could jump onto grass from 12 to 14 feet. We must discover who trained this man and who he is, because it cannot be Tyler Robinson, who is not a recon sniper trained assassin. And the comments
they're so perfect. I should sort them by likes.
It's
so good. I feel like I was trolling for both sides. Like, that's the best troll, is when people are mad from both sides.
And they have no idea.
They have no idea.
And you had other people like Phil Kennedy's like, I have to stay out of this.
Yeah, you don't want to get involved in it. When I'm trolling, get out of the way. It's just gonna be fun. And the sad thing is that my account is suppressed, and it's still got this many. It's up to 221,000 right now. So Matt Tardio is a former Ranger.
Yeah.
And I just fish hooked him.
And as soon as he got that, he had to be like, right. Yeah.
He had to, because I talked to one of his buddies. I called one of his friends. We were on the phone the other day before I posted that. I was talking to one of his friends that he talks to all the time. So I know that they have to just be like, okay, what does this say?
Someone out of shape Zoomer sprains. Oh, let's see.
There it goes.
Because some out of shape Zoomer sprains ankles jumping off the bed doesn't mean everyone is made of glass. Idiot. I don't even know what I feel like it's an episode of what's that guy's name? I do what I want.
Yeah, it's Napoleon Dynamite stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
I was late in the middle of. Here you go. I would jump from the second floor deck railing with a backpack on, land, and run to the bus stop. Okay,
I said impossible. The responses for me are the best part, because I get to either play. Here you go. I just get to have fun.
And as I was reading it, I even said I stayed completely out of it. By the way,
smart.
I was like, I was going to like.
Are you kidding? Like, anybody could make that jump. It's like, am I kidding?
Am I kidding? Yeah.
This is just, see, like, when people get me, they get me. Look at this.
Yeah. Nobody can bring as many resources as the guy when he's trolling. Losing guy IQ points. Susan, you finally got it. Yeah,
Susan got it. She knows what's up.
It was crazy, because as you read through the comments, and
they're mad on both sides.
Oh my gosh. When people are like, I'm unfollowing you now.
Yeah. There's no weapon. And I was like, he's got to be acquitted. I was like, if you say something dumb,
it's crazy.
Just be real.
Both feet are on the ledge. This cut's like 4 or 5 feet off the drop. This is nothing. Got it. You had to comment. Tell me you responded to that one. Yep, you did. No,
keep going. Keep going.
Keep going. I hate that you cracked the case like If you want to know what's going to win the internet or break the internet, it will be Kyle Seraphin.
Just having fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at this. Hold on. Scroll up. Read this guy. It's just like it's just nonsense.
Conspiracy. Draw the building at the proper height. It's just, oh my gosh. And you call me stupid. Got him.
That's Laura Loomer's reporter.
Who is?
That guy, Charles Downs.
Yeah.
But he
Or
is stupid.
Loomer.
He is stupid. He actually sent me a message today and he goes, "Can you at least give me credit for being mean to Anthony Fauci today?" And I was like, when you yell, you sound like a little boy going through puberty. It's not intimidating. So I won't give you credit for anything. You're embarrassing and you shouldn't do this job.
Yeah, at all. Nobody should let him do this job either.
Well, no one else is going to hire him but Laura Loomer.
Yeah, the Loomster.
He looks like an AIDS patient. He looks like he could have been one of Dr. Fauci's original
I
victims.
mean, Loomer kind of looks like a boy, so there's that.
She used to look more like an ugly girl. The surgery she's gotten has not helped this. The funny thing is that women think that if with enough surgery, they can look like a passable transgender person, and somehow that's a desirable look. I don't know where that became a thing, but watching women turn themselves into what looks like Vegas trannies is bizarre. It's so weird.
It is weird. Just, I told my wife, she's like, maybe I'll do some Botox. Like, not in this lifetime, you won't.
No, just don't do it. Just be a normal person. Stop looking like an alien. If you have alien face, you start looking like you might be a dude. If you're a woman, don't do it.
Yeah.
It's bad.
All
All
right. President Trump said he will respect Joe Biden's pardon of Dr. Fauci and will no longer challenge its validity. Trump says he's sure Biden didn't sign Dr. Fauci's pardon, but it would be too difficult to prove.
Perfect. If only you had the entire apparatus of the executive branch of the United States government behind you to be able to do it. That's called surrender. That's called you let the evil win.
Unbelievable.
It's just a rollover, man. This, at some point, you own that. Whether he was advised to do that or otherwise, you own it. That's the problem.
We'll end it on this one, and then we'll end the deal. Here you go. I just put it over.
The deal. What do we got?
President Trump talking. They said, I want him to blink twice if he's being held hostage. Just blink twice. Please blink twice. Let me know when you guys got that video up. President Trump says he'll respect Joe Biden's pardon of Anthony Fauci, will no longer challenge its validity. This just came out, by the way, 2 hours ago. Trump says he's sure Biden didn't sign Dr. Fauci's pardon. It would be too difficult to prove. The most powerful thing a president has is the power of pardon. I can tell you what the law is. You have to have a lot of proof.
Sure, dude. Whatever you say. You put in an FBI director who wrote a book about getting these guys. Oops.
Yeah, it didn't work out, did it?
No, it did not.
All right. Well, play. I don't even want to play the video. I don't really want to do it. No, we won't do it.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to close us in prayer? You want to do that? All right.
Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this time together. Thank you for the friends that we have, those who understand us, those who understand our differences. We ask you to help us be patient with ourselves and with our family, with those around us, with our neighbors who may not share all of our thoughts. And we ask you to guide our nation through whatever it is that you wish us to end up at. We know that it's your will and not ours that will be done. We know that we can't understand your plan. So help us to understand that we have to accept it in your time and not ours. Protect Joe and his family. Protect my little ones and my wife as we carry on and challenge whatever the status is. Guide our words so that they are truthful and they are honest. And they are of consequence. We ask all these things in Jesus Christ, your Son. Amen.
Amen. All right. Well, it was great having you on. It's always great to have you on at 4 o'clock Eastern.
4 o'clock Eastern. Yeah. I only operate on Easter time. Some people don't know that about me, but some people do.
I know about it for sure.
Hi, buddy.
All right.
Good talking to you. Talk soon.
Talk to you. All right. Take care. All right. Well, that's it for us today. And that was a great show. Make sure that you actually Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. Make sure you give us a 5-star review and do all the things that are necessary to spread the truth. Yeah, I can't tell you that we're all going to make it out of this life alive because we're not. But I can tell you that sooner or later, we will get to a place where there will be a reckoning. And yeah, so just pray for that. All right. God bless you. We'll see you soon.
Rise rise up untamed. In the heart of the fight where the wild ones roam, Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real, no more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave